The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
You can save up to $1,930 on a new furnace and AC combo or boiler. Don't miss this great deal. Go to standardheating.com.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. 93.
Peeps are introducing new flavors for Easter 2024, such as Rice Krispies and sour strawberry. Though I prefer the original flavor, neon shoe foam left in hot car.
A state lawmaker in Kentucky recently introduced a new bill that would make it legal for a person to have sex with a first cousin, while Alabama is making it mandatory.
Sticky foam excreted from a bug's anus may inspire new skincare products. Apparently, when attacked, the European alder spittlebug farts out a foamy substance that forms a protective jacket and could be beneficial for the skin because of its antimicrobial effects. Amazing. And explains Maybelline's new slogan, maybe she's born with it, maybe a bug farted on her face.
Minnesota Twins select Joseph Mauer, Cretin High School, Minnesota.
Dream of mine was always to be in the big leagues.
This young man has spent only 3 years in the minor leagues coming out of high school. Let's use some of that power. Joe Mauer swung on, ground ball, single, base hit, center field. Joe Mauer, his first major league hit.
High drive, deep right center field. Joe Mauer, catch 'em all. First major league home run.
The only catcher to win an American League batting title, and he did it 3 times.
Joe in tears, the love of the game of baseball.
I never once took for granted what a gift it was to wear the Twins uniform and be able to play here at home in the state I love in front of all of you. It truly means the world to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
All right.
Yeah, I suppose we're all loaded up and ready to go with a Friday program for you. Thank you for listening and welcome to the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show. Today should be a good one. Later on this morning, barring a disaster, and they've happened.
Oh, I hope not today.
They've happened before. That's why I dump it in there. Barring a disaster. We're going to get to chat with all-time big league great Joe Mauer here in our garbage radio studios. It's our first time talking with the guy on air. He and Channel 5 sports anchor Joe Schmit are going to drop by at 7:30 to talk about a book that Joe Schmit has wrote. Which way do I go with that?
Written.
A book that Joe Schmit written.
Well, the has was important. Yeah. Before you had the has in there. See, here you'd use wrote.
It's a book.
Yes, it is a book.
Yes.
Joe Schmit wrote it.
No.
And the book was inspired by Joe Mauer.
One of the nicest guys in town. Well, both those guys.
Absolutely.
The book was inspired by, well, we'll let the fellas explain it. The book was inspired by the kind of guy Joe Mauer was and is. It's a children's book, I believe.
Yep.
And we'll find out all about that and whatever else the fellas want to rap about. We're all big fans of Joe Mauer's. The way I see it, if you're somehow not a fan of Joe Mauer as an athlete or a person, that's your problem. Mm-hmm. You've got something wrong with you.
Well, especially a person. Mm-hmm. I mean, you hear so many stories about what a good guy that he is and what a good guy he's been since he's a kid. He's just always been a good dude.
Seems like everybody in Minnesota has some type of story where they had some sort of maybe brief or maybe not brief run-in with Joe Mauer and just how wonderful he was.
I don't have that story yet, so I guess today will be my story. Yeah.
Hope so. We were joking yesterday about what if it's all an act? He comes here and he's just a total diva. He's a jerk to us off air.
He's got a big entourage. He's like texting on 4 different cell phones that won't make eye contact with us.
I would kind of love that.
He shows up drunk. His nose is bleeding. You know,
Dana, we're going with. We're like, no one's seen him in a while. He's just hammered off his ass.
Cameraman Jesus used to work with Joe Schmit, and he loves him. He said he absolutely loves Joe Schmit.
Yeah, Joe Schmidt's no punk either. I mean, that effing guy's been busting his ass in the television news business in this town for near 40 years. Pert near. And he's not doing this cake anchor gig that Shaver does at KARE 11.
Yeah, he's got to get out there, write his own stories, chase his own interviews.
Yeah, out in the field.
Prepare.
So like I said, we're fans. So I think the key to success in a situation like this is to keep our composure with these big timers coming in to see us this morning around 7:30. And I'm interested in hearing all about this new book. And tell me if I'm wrong here. Joe Schmit has put together a couple of books prior to this one. He's an author?
Yes.
And at least one of those books was also about the career of Joe Mauer?
Also correct.
Wow, these guys must hang out. Schmit and Mauer.
Oh, yeah, they must be buddies, right?
Well, I suppose Schmit, watched him grow up, So I suppose that's a big, he's a big part of his life.
Been covering since high school.
Yeah. I mean, okay, what year was that when Joe went number 1 overall?
2001.
Oh, it was 2001?
Mm-hmm. That's when you graduated high school.
I was going to say 98 or 99. Okay, I'm not going to tell this story to Joe Mauer, but baseball fans will get this story. At the time, I knew a sports guy in town by the name of Tim McNiff. Tim McNiff worked for Channel 11 with Randy way back in the 90s. I forget what Tim is up to now, but Tim and I became pretty good buddies working together on the radio, and McNiff was a huge Mauer fan. Tim would talk about Joe as a high school athlete, in that time period, late 90s. Tim would always talk about, I'm telling you, this Mauer kid's going to be incredible, that he's going to be that guy in the big leagues. And I'll never forget, Tim came in. Tim was done working with us at that point. He had moved on to other things. But I ran into Tim at a gas station on the day that Joe Mauer was drafted. And Timmy walks up to me and he goes, "Hey, Mauer got taken number 1 overall by the Twins," or whatever. That was the correct situation,
yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Mauer got taken number 1 overall by the Twins. And I said, they should have went with Mark Pryor. I wasn't sold on it. I thought it was a lot of hype, and I don't think anybody really could fault me too badly for that. I thought it was just Minnesotans going a little too crazy over a local kid. You know what I'm saying?
Having their blinders on a little bit.
Right. Boy, was I wrong. And so when Tim McNiff said, told you the Twins took him number 1, I said they should have taken Mark Pryor, who ended up being a very good big league pitcher, but not for a very long period of time. He got injured and this and that. Remember, Mark Pryor pitched for the Cubs when they had those pretty damn good teams in the early 2000s.
You've always been kind of a Cubs guy.
Oh, God, I love the Cubs.
You've been very vocal about that.
I was the first guy in town to start harassing Steve Bartman.
You ran him out of town.
I ran him right out of town when he screwed my team, the Cubs, out of that appearance in the World Series.
What was it for a while there, and before their most recent World Series? You see Cubs hats all the time. One of my neighbors has one. A neighbor kid. He's a Cubs fan.
Even before they had that fluky run to the World Series.
That's weird to hear you say fluky as such a big fan.
Right.
But why was that?
Why? Because they're the lovable losers, because they were on national television. Right?
Well, they're also on WGN, which we got here locally.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
that's what I'm referencing. WGN. They were on a national cable channel. So, that's how it worked out. The lovable losers, the Harry Carey thing, that's what made so many people all over the country, half-ass Cubs fans.
You don't see it as much anymore. The people wearing Cubs hats around town.
Well, does WGN still play Cubs games?
Ooh. I'm not sure.
Is there still a WGN?
Still around?
Right.
I mean, it's still around. I don't think we get it anymore, though, here locally.
Okay, yeah, that was, sure.
I even loved the Cubs for a while.
Oh, God.
As a child, I have a Build-A-Bear, and obviously he's a Cubs fan. That's adorable.
Yeah, I liked the Cubs growing up, too, just because of Sammy Sosa. I absolutely loved the guy.
Oh, yeah.
when he was just crushing home runs, and
Well,
I was young, so I had no idea what was going on.
And again, you could find their day games on cable.
And it looked like so much fun with everyone in the bleachers, and then, the moss growing on Wrigley Field. That always looked cool to me.
I think is it moss? What is it?
It's mold, actually.
Yeah. Someone should take care of
What
that.
is it? It's ivy, isn't it?
Yeah, ivy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway.
I'm a little nervous. I expected Ashley to be all dolled up today. And you dress comfortably.
Yeah.
You got a
Well,
sweatshirt.
I wore cute boots, though.
Okay, you wore cute boots. So I thought, Ashley, we don't have to worry about her. I thought maybe you were going to try and leave with Joe Mauer, and that would backfire, I believe. He's a happily married man. But now I'm actually a little more worried. Like you've got something else up your sleeve.
No.
You're not going to strip for the guys, are you?
I never really got that, no offense to Joe Mauer, of course, but I never really got that attraction vibe because
Seriously?
Because from such a young age, I just grew up watching him play. I mean, since I was
You took him more seriously as a ball player.
Yes.
Than you took him as a heartthrob.
Yep.
Because you were dialed into baseball and softball and things like that.
Oh gosh, yeah, that was him and the Torrey Hunter, Santana, Morneau, like that was what made me fall in love with baseball and softball altogether. And so I've never looked at him in that way. It's more of somebody to look up to.
Josh,
Gotcha.
you know my friggin' wife, right?
Of course I do. I don't understand the inflection there, but yes.
To this day, if she sees Torrey Hunter on television, she gets short of breath.
I can see why.
I decided,
and he's also such a cool, charismatic guy. That adds to it, obviously.
I decided to get on the ground floor for the Joe Mauer ass kiss party that we're going to have later. I decided to get on the ground floor by wearing my Twins hat today. Dana's still head-to-toe Buffalo Bills dork. But I wore my Twins stocking cap just to let the fellas know, hey, I've been there from day one.
I almost wore my Morneau t-shirt.
Sure.
Just to, kind of become a problem, but...
Oh, I don't think that would create any problem.
No,
they're best buddies. They used to live together.
I do have a signed Joe Mauer rookie card, and I thought about bringing it in and having him sign it a second time.
Double signing.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. You have a signed. Where did you get it signed? You remember meeting him at a mall or something back when you were a kid, or?
Actually, I was lucky enough. My ex's father-in-law knew I was a huge Joe Mauer fan, and he has always been into the Twins. He is one of those types that would take like those playbooks or whatever it is and write down like
he would keep a score.
Yeah, scorebook. And so he decided to give me the Joe Mauer rookie card.
Well, how did he get his hands on a Joe? How did he get it signed? Do you know the story?
He used to go to Twins Fest.
Oh, Twins Fest.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Josh and I got thrown out of there years ago for drinking too much beer.
That makes sense for Josh, yeah.
We got thrown out of Twins Fest.
Well, he didn't say how many I drank. It was about half, and I was just half, 3 sheets to the wind. The Twins Fest, that's fun. Go every year.
I love Twins Fest.
Yeah, I enjoy it. My kids absolutely love it.
Do they still do it?
Oh, yeah.
I know
Sure
that
do.
They paused it during COVID and all that.
Yeah, they
but
paused a couple of things during COVID, as far as I know.
I just wasn't sure if they ever brought it back.
Oh, yeah, they brought
did.
it back.
That's cool.
It's coming up maybe at the end of
the month.
Yeah, last weekend of this month.
Yeah.
This month, end of this month.
Yep.
Well, that's pretty. You have an autographed Joe Mauer rookie card. You should have brought it in and maybe asked Joe and Joe what they think it would be worth when Joe Mauer eventually goes into the Hall of Fame. I know we've had these conversations before, and it's never as much as you maybe think it would be, but...
You know what would have been hilarious? If you brought it in and he's like, yeah, that's not my signature.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, come on. Why didn't you should have
Can
talked
somebody
to
take a picture of it and send it to us?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll wake my boyfriend up.
Oh, this will be fun. Okay. That would be great.
Let's verify this thing.
Let's verify that. Josh, that's brilliant. What if it's not really Joe Mauer's signature and your ex's father-in-law just thought you were a sucker?
We worked with a guy who, I believe it was Jared Leto. He got something signed by Jared Leto, and he was all furious because it was just like an X. If I'm remembering this correctly, it was something like an X, and he just went off. He was so upset and thought, what a disrespectful jerk. He didn't even want to sign it. He just put an X on there, and then we got a bunch of people texting in saying, yeah, dude, that's his signature. That's exactly what he does.
Really?
Oh, he wasn't just being a jerk to you. That's kind of what he does. But in this case, gosh, I don't know which way to go on it. I don't want you to be disappointed, but boy, would that be hilarious.
That would be
great.
very funny if Joe Mauer says, look, that's not my signature.
I'd be okay with that.
And I'm trying to figure out the math on it, but your ex's father-in-law, if he gave you just something completely worthless. Wait, you mean your ex-husband?
Yes, my ex-husband's
Wouldn't that be your
stepfather, sorry.
Oh, I was going to say.
Yeah, as you said that, I was like, oh, I messed that up.
Your ex-husband's stepfather.
Yep.
All right, we'll get this sorted out by the time Joe Mauer and Joe Schmit. Well, speaking of that kind of thing where maybe you got scammed, in the stupid news, we've got a story about a Snoop Dogg look-alike that you might take interest in a little bit later, where people thought it was the real Snoop Dogg, but it really was not.
That is pretty funny.
I love when that happens.
He kind of looked like Snoop Dogg.
A little bit,
And
I
if
guess.
you don't know enough.
Yeah, I could see how people could fall for it. So
I always see that on Twitter, and it's usually an intoxicated woman. And she's like, oh, I met Pete Davidson last night, and looks nothing like Pete Davidson.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. This is interesting. A text message from Backyard Haircut Jesus. He has a Joe Mauer fact for us. Joe Mauer was breastfed on Killebrew root beer.
We got some of that at the house. That's a family
Do you?
favorite. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
You guys like that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
I can't remember the last time I had a root beer.
Can I bring one in for you? Do you want one? Or do you drink that stuff? I mean,
Yeah.
it's caffeine-free.
As long as there ain't any caffeine in it, I can drink it without any fear of sudden death. So there you go. 7:30 this morning. We're skipping the dad fights in case you're sitting here priming yourself for a Brad Ryder versus Randy Shaver dad fight today. We're going to can that for a week so we can focus our time on Joe Schmit and Joe Mauer. Randy Shaver will join us. Brad Ryder will also, I think, be calling in, right?
Yep.
Brad must have worked with Joe.
Yeah, we were talking about that off the air. We have to assume the timeline's matched up on that.
They must have matched. I should be more clear what the hell we're talking about. Brad Ryder, before his career with the Timberwolves as their media relations guy, before that drama, he worked for the Minnesota Twins in the same capacity. He worked for Golden Gopher hockey in the same capacity. So Brad knows a lot of jocks here in town, and I would imagine they must have crossed paths once or twice.
This text says, F, I was edging all week for dad fights. Edging. I haven't heard that in a long time.
Gross.
There are people out there who really like it, I guess. That's going to be something. All right. But I mean, autographed memorabilia does usually go up in price once that athlete reaches the Hall of Fame. I just don't.
Yeah. You got your Brett Favre football.
I do have a Brent Favre autographed official NFL football.
I mean, he hasn't done much to keep his reputation on the positive side lately.
No, he has not.
But maybe people will forget later on.
Suckers down in Mississippi, and there's still probably a handful of suckers in Green Bay that would probably give me way more money than I deserve for that item.
Oh, yeah. I know a couple you can hit up.
Yeah.
Did anyone here? Sorry, to go back to Joe Mauer. Anybody here go to one of the sideburns days at the Twins game where you get the sideburns?
No, I never made it one of those.
Yeah,
Those are fun, though.
I always wanted some.
I remember the bit, and I think they sent us some here to the radio station, so we dorks were walking around the building, for a few days.
Yeah, I didn't get mine. Somebody took mine.
Yeah, the Joe Mauer sideburns giveaway.
Pretty funny.
Whenever there's an article, on ESPN or Sports Illustrated or whatever, any of these other sports-related websites, whenever they break down some of the silliest baseball giveaways, baseball promotions, that always makes the list. That is really clever that they went through with that. There was a time when you'd go to the old Metrodome. You got the new one now. The old Metrodome, where Joe Mauer played most of his games, there was a time where you would see fans who hoarded those Joe Mauer sideburns and would make a full beard out of it. They'd make themselves a monobrow with it. Just, people went crazy for that silly item.
Pretty funny.
Those were fun teams and fun days, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
God dang. They had some teams come awful close.
Brad Ryder's a clever guy. I wonder if he came up with any of those. I could see him doing it.
Well, Christ, I wonder if he had any say in those kinds of things. Let's make sure we ask Brad about that. But Randy will be extra excited today, Randy Shaver. Because,
Well, he loves celebrities.
He does. He does. And I think he and Joe Schmit are pretty tight. And, Randy kind of hooked us up with this. So Randy's going to be walking proud today when we talk to him at 7:30. He does love famous people. He'll argue that, but don't listen to him. Listen to him.
He kind of gets like my wife when she's on the phone. For whatever reason, she talks in a higher register, I think, to sound pleasant.
The nice voice.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's so noticeable. And and Randy's kind of like that too. He speaks a little different at times.
Yeah.
When we're talking to celebrities,
we've even experimented, unbeknownst to Randy, we've experimented on air with this theory, where when Zach Parisi would come on,
Oh, especially Zach. That was a big one.
If Zach, back when we used to have Zach Parisi on the air. Oh, and by the way, I know Zach and Joe are tight. Mm-hmm. Zach and Joe Mauer, I should be more specific. Since
I'm surprised they're not rivals, just in the way that there are two local heartthrobs, But they'd go back, maybe they have a bit of a rivalry there.
You played some audio, I think, in our intro of Joe Mauer's, what's the terminology, when he was standing on the field at Target Field.
Inducted in the Twins Hall of Fame?
There you go. When he was inducted into the Twins Hall of Fame, I was at that game, and it was all these old baseball players and then Zach. One NHLer sitting there because those guys are tight. But anyway, we used to notice that, if Zach Parisi came on the air, well, I guess I should start with this. If I would have said on air, boy, I got drunk last night and I sharted, right? Randy would go, that's terrible. Why would you even bring that up on the air? I don't even know why I do this radio show. If Zach Parisi said the same thing, Randy would go, well, that's hilarious. Oh, my God. You know what, Zach? What are you going to do? It happens to the best of us. Oh, wow. Did you guys hear what Zach just said? He said he's hungover and he sharted. That was great. You should make that a promo.
Yeah, he is a different guy. He's a lot happier. It was the same when we used to have Matt Burke as our Viking. He was like that with Matt Burke anytime he was on.
Randy's going to be pumped. What else is going on around here? It's Friday. What are you guys doing?
Right this second?
This weekend.
Oh, this weekend? Well, I'll actually be seeing Randy Shaver tomorrow for his pickleball tournament tomorrow morning.
You're going to go ahead with that pickleball thing.
Yeah, I'll be there bright and early. Shakopee, drop shot pickleball. Dr. P going to be there. He's in the intermediate bracket, don't you know?
Big time.
He's going to go in there, and he wants to win that sucker.
Does he?
Yeah, he wants to win. So my kids are going to be there. I'm looking forward to watching them play. I'm really hoping that they dominate. My stepson's very talented. He's a good athlete.
Yeah, I can see that.
He's got a good shot. He kind of like the old timers, when we were playing against them, they just are like, okay, whatever, because he is so good, and he'll like dive for it, and he's not going to let anything go. He was a goalie growing up.
Wait a minute. I thought you said he was a good athlete.
That took a second. He is a good athlete.
That's where we used to put the guy who couldn't skate. We made him goalie.
Josh, I hope you come back on Monday with the story of Dr. P just having like an old school John McEnroe meltdown on the court.
He does take it seriously.
That's what I've heard. So I'm hoping that it would be, especially because it's a charity event too. If he just lost his mind at a charity event.
Well, so does Randy though. I mean, Randy takes it. He's very competitive.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I am not competitive whatsoever. I want to have a good time. I don't really care how it turns out.
I want an injury. I said that already. That's what I want out of this tournament. Not from, just the average person who showed up to play. I want an injury out of you or Randy or Dr. P. I'm even okay if one of your stepkids get hurt. I'm even okay with that. I want an injury story. I'm not going to make it. I know we were talking on and on about how I was going to partner. I'm not able to make it tomorrow. And I would even be happy if I showed up and got hurt. Trust me, this isn't meant to be mean. But I want an injury story coming out of this. Hamstrings, quads. What else we got down here? Ankles.
Lord, yeah.
Achilles.
We got calves.
Kirk Cousins type the room. Achilles Cousins.
That's the popular thing right now is to tear your Achilles.
So I want an injury story. Don't hurt yourself on purpose. But I want an injury story. I'm hoping it happens naturally.
Well, I'll see a nut shot. Every time. I've played 5 times, and all 5 times I've seen somebody take one in the crotch.
I hit Dr. P in the seeds the first time he and I played against each other.
And it was on purpose, if I remember correct.
Yes, it was.
Love that.
And he was upset, and I enjoyed every second of it.
You know, what's great about Dr. P is he's such a nice guy. So when he's mad at you, he does his best to hold it in, But you can tell there's some rage behind those eyes.
I can tell that he was mad at me when I spiked one right into his nads.
You guys probably haven't seen that, have you? You haven't seen him in competitive mode.
No, I haven't
at all.
Yeah,
I could definitely see him hitting that cord, though. Well, Josh, I really wanted to be there with you, but unfortunately, fortunately, I guess, I have a gig this weekend.
I saw that. You're lucky. I mean, I'm glad I'll be doing this, but I love the boat show.
Oh, I'm so excited. So, yeah, I'll be at the Discover Boating Minneapolis Boat Show from 1 to 3 tomorrow. And I'm pretty sure I am going to be competing in a bag tournament. So that'll be exciting. We'll see how it goes down. Cornhole tournament.
Oh, I thought you said a back tournament.
No.
You said bag.
A backgammon tournament.
Yes.
You will be competing at the boat show in some kind of a cornhole bags tournament?
Yeah, I think they're going to throw me in there for like a couple rounds. I don't think that me playing is going to, really alter the end results because whoever wins gets a brand new Sea-Doo.
Whoa.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
For cornhole.
Yeah. A 2024 Sea-Doo, yep.
You're ineligible.
I know. So I was like, okay, so I can't win, right?
But you know what you could do? You could come for pickleball because our bracket wraps up around 11. And you gave yourself plenty of time to get to the boat show.
Oh, I could.
You're not going to make it.
No. I've never played it before.
I will not see you tomorrow, will I?
I think I would make a complete fool of myself out there.
I've gone to the boat show many, many, many years. You know how many boats I've purchased at the boat show?
6.
Honestly, 0. Because I realized I'm never gonna trailer this thing anywhere. I barely even know how to drive a trailer.
You were a boat owner at one time.
I was?
A canoe.
Oh, I owned a canoe. Yeah. It's a watercraft.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know if you can call that a boat. That's true. I did own a canoe. My parents, when my dad passed, he left me his canoe. And I gave it to my brother because he lived on a lake. Seemed to make more sense.
That does make sense.
Yeah.
My mom and dad are coming out, and my dad is very into fishing, very into ice fishing, and I am concerned for her because he is going to spend money, and I know he's going to. No doubt in my mind.
Like, what do you think he's going to get? Like a sweet depth finder? Or?
Oh, yeah. 100%. Yep, he'll hit the Vexilar booth and probably spend way too much money.
I always feel bad looking around at things like the boat show and the RV show because they take one look at me and like, this dude's not buying anything.
The RV show, I was telling Nick off the air that the RV show is so appealing to me. I've gone a couple times. I've always wanted an RV, but again, I don't like to go anywhere. I'd never use it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know where to go. I'd have no idea.
You just you park it outside your house and just live in it.
It just seems like something that'd be so cool to have. Just knowing I could go anywhere at any time, and I got a built-in place to sleep.
Just load it up and go.
So nice now too.
Yeah, some of those are like Motley Crue would be jealous with some of those things.
Like better than your house.
Yeah, better than the tour buses they're cruising around on.
Rock star stuff, the boat show and the RV stuff. Or pardon me, I should say, the boat show and the RV show.
And you're serious? Like, you're sure somebody can win a Sea-Doo winning that thing?
Yep. I mean, that's in the commercials that have been cutting, so I hope so.
Yeah, but you kind of make stuff up in those.
It says here in our cheat sheet, Ashley will MC the annual Bago tournament for a 2024 Sea-Doo Spark from St. Bonnie Motorsports.
You're emceeing it.
Oh, emceeing. Thank gosh. Well, one of the first, little ads that I got, it made it seem like I was competing in it. And I was like, oh, okay, so I have to practice.
All right, so you're the MC for the big bags tournament. That ought to be something.
It'll be a good time.
Boat shows and RV shows are fun. But like you said, it's, wow, you quickly learn how, I don't know, thin your savings account is. Well, when you look around and see...
You're not kidding, man.
What you might need to put down for some of these items. They're beautiful.
Even a modest fishing boat is crazy expensive nowadays.
I've been a boat owner now for, recreational boat for, 14, 15 years. And, it's time for an upgrade. But it scares the hell out of me.
Well, they're so good because you're like, oh, boy, that is so expensive. I'd love to do it, but I can't. And we can give you a 15-year loan. The payment would be next to nothing. Think about it. You're like, oh, yeah. Should I take a mortgage out on this thing? Sure.
Only paying $75 a month now.
Will I be one of those guys that the first summer uses it quite often? Yes. Second summer forgets I have it? Absolutely.
Oh.
That's how it usually goes with boat owners.
Well, here's the deal. We got to get going. We got to start heading in the right direction here. Friday morning, our big excitement today is the visit from Joe Mauer and Joe Schmit coming up in about an hour and 20 minutes. They're going to be coming in studio. Real quick before we go, a message from HVAC Delivery Jesus. It's still pretty cold. I know the weather's going to improve next week, but it's still pretty cold out there. I love this message from HVAC Delivery Jesus. He said he just came out of his garage and the exhaust cloud was so big. He walked through it with his arms out like a wrestler on the way to the ring.
That's cool.
He says good morning to the brother and sisterhood. We'll be right back on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Our experienced and certified technicians at Standard Heating have been trusted to keep our fellow Minnesotans comfortable and confident for over 90 years. We're ready to do the same for you, providing comfort you deserve since 1930.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's 94 years of business celebration is going on right now. You can save up to $1,930 on a new furnace and AC combo or boiler. Don't miss this great deal. Go to standardheating.com.
Would count.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
All right. We got lots to cover here. I better get going. First off, Josh was mentioning earlier that tomorrow's a big fundraiser pickleball tournament. Randy Shaver, who's going to be joining us here in an hour. Randy Shaver is hosting a big pickleball fundraiser tomorrow. Josh is going to be playing. Dr. P gonna be there. Randy will be there. I'm not going to make it. I know I had planned on it, but I'm not going to be able to make it. I hope you guys have a blast. I hope you raise a lot of money. Got a text from FXT Jesus, and he asked me if the reason I'm not showing up tomorrow for the pickleball tournament is because it's too early on a Saturday. Don't get me wrong. That tournament does start too early for a Saturday, but that is not why I'm skipping it. I was going to text him back, but I might as well just say it into the microphone. There are other reasons why I'm not showing up, and they're all political.
Well, it's an election year. You got a lot of work to do.
Mm-hmm. He's doing his research.
He's a door knocker. Shows up. So, tell me more about your candidate. You're like, I don't know. Well, what party are you representing? I don't even know. A republic? Democracy? I don't think you'd be the wrong guy.
Dude, much like damn near everything I say on this radio show, just like everything I say on the radio show, the reason why I'm not going to Randy's tournament tomorrow, motivated by politics.
And you don't like Randy.
Also, I'm not a big fan of the guy.
You're political. You have an opposition there.
Let me see if this works on the radio before we start the stupid news. I want to see if this works. Can you turn the music down real quick? Whoever's running the music. I want to see if this comes through properly.
Oh my God.
Just got a text.
Yesterday we had the great audio of the Chinese fart lighting.
Get real quick.
Which is like the greatest thing that's ever happened, in my opinion. And I mentioned that I'd like to make it my ringtone. Well, this is a long process for a guy like me, but yesterday Josh sent me the audio. He sent it to my cellular telephone, so I have it now, and the next step would be for one of you nerds to show me how to make it into my ringtone. I had a couple people text in and ask, is it your ringtone yet? Well, we're getting there, Josh. Sent me the audio. Let me see if this comes through. Something else Josh sent me yesterday to my cell phone. So now I have that permanently.
Oh, my word.
The unbelievable karate kick at the Olympics a few years ago and kicked the guy's head right off his shoulder. The guy died.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you, Ashley, and thank you, Josh.
I knew it was going to be a good Friday when I was sitting before the show. I was sitting outside the studio at that table. All of a sudden, Nick and Josh's studio door opens just a little bit, and his cell phone gets held out, and then he plays that sound of the Chinese fart. I'm like, it's going to be a good day today.
We're having some fun. All right, stupid news. Oh, I just got another text about Britney Spears nude on the beach. Yeah, I saw that. All right. Here's that Snoop Dogg, but it really wasn't Snoop Dogg story we mentioned briefly earlier. A flight attendant made herself out to be a jackass on stupid social media. She did. All the social media dorks made great fun of this lady. She was working what they call here a Southwest Airlines flight a day or two ago, doing her thing as a flight attendant, and she was full-on convinced that Snoop Dogg was on the airplane. She took multiple pictures of the two of them. She tossed those pictures up onto TikTok or whatever. She posted things like, I can't believe Snoop Dogg was on the airplane today. The problem was this dude was not effing Snoop Dogg. Not at all.
Feel bad for her. Yeah, I wonder if it's one of those things where a coworker thought maybe it was him, said it, and she's thinking, I'm going to impress my kids and take a picture with the celebrity I'm not familiar with.
Right. But you guys tell me, because I couldn't quite make it out from reading the story. Was this just some ordinary dude who happened to look like Snoop Dogg, or was this a Snoop Dogg look-alike, a guy who makes a living coming off like Snoop Dogg? Do you know the answer to that?
He's just a regular passenger from what I read.
Yeah.
So then
but
what
Snoop Dogg's cousin was there and took the picture, though.
That's kind of
weird.
Right. That's what made me wonder if this was all a setup. The actual cousin of the real Snoop Dogg was on the airplane. His name is Timothy Graham, and he filmed this lady while she fell all over this dude that she thought was Snoop Dogg. He didn't say jack squat. He was enjoying all of this. I'm referring to the cousin. He enjoyed it, and he may have even encouraged the lady to take pictures and such.
But, so I don't know if it's slang or what, but the cousin said, this lady's taking a picture with my cousin, right? So I don't know if this guy's actually related to Snoop Dogg, the look-alike, or if he was just saying that, to be cool.
I don't know what the hell's going on here, but this lady thought it was Snoop Dogg, and she made a jackass out of herself. And everyone's making fun of her on social media. The flight attendant...
There is a resemblance, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh, most definitely. Very tall and lanky, like he is, too.
He looked quite a bit like the real...
Similar smile.
He looked quite a bit like the real guy.
Like I smoked way too much weed smile on.
The flight attendant is a gal by the name of Chrissy Lofton. She had no idea that this dude was not faux Rizzle. I didn't write that. The story wrote that. That wasn't me. Some social media dork had a cute line in taunting this Chrissy. What the hell was her last name again? Lofton. Some social media clown had a cute line. They said, that's not Snoop Dogg, that's Snoop Cat. After Chrissy Lofton, the flight attendant, found out that she was all pumped over nothing, she said, I know this guy wasn't Snoop Dogg now. I know now that he wasn't Snoop Dogg, but I did think he was very sweet with a beautiful smile that lit up his whole face. Well, that's very nice of her to say that, isn't it, Josh?
It is. He did have a nice smile.
He may be a lookalike, but he was very much a gentleman, and I'm still glad he was on my flight. So there you go.
You know who else is Snoop Dogg's cousin? Sasha Banks.
Right. Big shocker that Wapple brought that one up.
RJ, that rapper.
I don't know RJ.
You should, in case folks aren't familiar with Sasha Banks, you should say who that is.
She's a wrestler.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
She used to be a television wrestler.
She still is over in Japan and stuff like that.
Japanese television. I let a bit like this go too far one night. I used to play hockey with a dude, wildly talented player, really, honestly. Josh, you remember Jeff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You guys went to school together, didn't you?
We did.
You went to different schools together. I played hockey with this dude named Jeff. We called him Hefe. And Hefe could tickle the twine. He was a big, bad sumbitch out there. We won a lot of games because of Hefe. And it just so happened that the sumbitch looked a lot like former Pigs goaltender Manny Fernandez. So one night I'm doing a bar gig and Hefe shows up. And just joking around on the mic, Hefe takes a seat in the bar. And just joking around on the mic, I said, hey, welcome to the stupid radio station bar gig. As a matter of fact, I've got somebody with me tonight that you should all meet. Sitting right over here is wild goaltender Manny Fernandez. And this was early 2000s when Manny was an active goaltender for the Pigs. And everybody in the bar bought it. That's how much these guys looked alike. And there's 21-year-old women draped all over Hefe, sitting on his lap, kissing him on the neck. He's autographing everything up and down. And all of a sudden, I said to myself, this has gone too far. I'm gonna get in trouble here somehow. The bar owner walks up to me. Hey, can I hire you guys to do this and that? Can I have them sign a jersey and put it on the wall of the bar? And just thinking on my feet, I said, well, that's actually against NHL rules. I totally made that up because I was saying to myself, if I go a step further here and start signing Hefe up to make appearances, I'm probably going to go to jail. So I squashed that, and then I walked up to Hefe. He's got like 3-4 women sitting on his lap, and I said, hey, man, do you want me to squash this? And he says, if you squash this, I'll kill you. He's got all these 21-year-olds. Oh, Manny Fernandez.
Crazy Fish Guy Jesus said stuff like that happens to him. People think they ask for pictures because they think he looks like Morgan Wallen.
Who the hell is Morgan Wallen?
The country star.
Oh, I mentioned him yesterday.
You sure did.
Never heard of him.
He's a new age country star. That's why you don't like him.
Well, he specifically said he hadn't heard of him.
I've never heard of the guy, Wapple. What do you mean I don't like him?
Yesterday you said that new age country's garbage.
Yeah, it is. So what's the final answer there?
I want to see a picture of this listener.
Do they really call it new age country?
No, that's what I call it.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if that was something that...
What do you call a picture, like if you're going to take a picture?
A picture?
No, you call it a picture. You must have changed it.
I don't know. He forgot the bit.
I guess he did.
All right, for me personally now, one of the more interesting changes in how folks operate these days, as opposed to, say, 30 years ago or so, one of the more interesting changes in how we operate is how we feel about random dog turds left laying around town. Back when I was a kid, at least in my neighborhood, nobody cared if a dog walked into your yard and laid a coiler. I grew up on a busy highway with a sidewalk right in our front yard where people walked their dogs up and down the street all day long. Dogs would stop in our yard every day and leave one for us. It never occurred to us to get mad about it. There's a dog. Dogs poop when they go for walks. A dog pooped in our yard. So what? We had dogs of our own, sometimes 2 dogs at a time. And they would sometimes go see the neighbors and drop one for them on their lawn. Nobody said a word. We'd take our dogs to the local park. We'd let them press one out on the baseball field. It never presented a problem. These days, if you're walking your dog around town and you don't pick up after your dog, by God, people act like you pulled the pin on a grenade and left it there to kill someone. So here's the deal. Way the hell over there in damn Italy, in a town called Bolzano, which in Italian translates to lover of balls.
Oh.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
You might even hear an Italian guy say to his friend, hey, Bolzano. That means they're addressing someone who is a lover of balls.
You learn something new every day.
Right.
people say this program isn't educational.
In effing Bolzano, Italy, dog owners are now required. They're now required to provide their dog's DNA to the local authorities. So if a dog deuce is left laying anywheres in town, cops can figure out whose dog it came from, and then they can punish you for being such a terrible person.
A lot of apartment complexes do that kind of thing now.
Isn't that something?
Really?
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely insane to me. They call this operation, the one in Bolzano, Italy, they call it the Poop Patrol. Wildly original. And they're prepared to dump a fine on dog owners for not cleaning up big fat dog turds. Some dog owners in town are pissed because they have to pay for the doggy DNA test. And they say, hey, Bolzano. They say, I always clean up after my dog, so why do I have to go along with this DNA thing? I'm not part of the problem. Do you see where they're coming from?
Yeah. Yep. Maybe it's like a police investigation where you say that to the cop, hey, I'm innocent. And they say, well, we're just trying to rule you out. That's all. That's why you do it.
So, this is nothing new. We've been hearing things like this for years, but it still throws me to think how different people come off over dog turds these days.
It is weird.
People are passionate about it to the point where one time I used a sock because I was out of the little doggy bags.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I don't know what you mean.
So most dogs nowadays, they have a leash and, they take you can pull bags out,
the plastic bag thing.
Yeah, I started walking the dog, realized that the roll was empty. She took a big one, and I'm like, oh, crap, what do I do? So I just knocked my shoe off, used my sock, and picked it up that way.
Oh, God.
I'm going to be honest, I would have never done that.
No, I would have just...
Like, I hope nobody chases me down with an axe or something.
You do gross things with your socks. We've learned over the years. Honestly.
It's my one quirk.
Dave Ryan at KDWB, he's been so nice to us over the years. And do you remember he sent us his Clipadoos? I hope I got the name right. The little bone-shaped containers for dog poop bags.
Yeah, then you clip it to the leash.
You put it right to the leash.
Mm-hmm.
We use that all the time.
Those.
Yeah,
Yep.
those are slick.
You're right, by the way. Clipadoos.
Clipadoo? Okay, good.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a thing. It's all become a thing. When we were kids, when a dog would walk into our yard and get into that prime position, I remember all we would say was, hey, whose dog is that? That was it.
Yep.
This person here says it's a $300 fine at their apartment if they don't pick it up.
Holy cow.
Is that the neighbor's dog? Yeah. Oh, he's taking a deuce. Yeah.
Wapple, is there anything like that? Because I know you live in like a place where you have the HOA.
No,
do they have any rules against that? No.
Nope, but everyone uses our yard to poop on, that's for sure.
Including me.
Really?
Yeah, there's like poops like half the size of our dogs, and it's like, well, that's not our dog. That's not possible.
Here's a joke for you single people who still go out on the weekend to try and get laid. And it plays nicely into this story. You ready for a joke for the single people? Try to remember this one. What do people and dog turds have in common? The older they are, the easier they are to pick up.
Classic. That was a good one.
Speaking of pets, no doubt it sucks when a pet ups and dies on you.
It's tough. It's like a member of the family.
Yep.
Some can move on quickly from that type of thing. Some want to do what they can to make sure that their beloved pet is remembered forever. Here's a gal whose hamster woke up dead. So she had the damn thing stuffed to look like a pole dancer wearing a G-string.
This is on 93x.com.
This is disturbing.
The gal's name is Jess Porter Langston. Her dwarf hamster by the name of Hamilton checked out last August. She wanted to do something special to immortalize him.
The what part? I have an answer for you, Wapple. Did you see the photo?
Yeah.
The part that to me is most disturbing is the unnatural position of one of its legs.
Yep.
It's put straight up as if it were an arm. It looks like she broke it in 4 pieces.
That's just not right.
She wanted to immortalize her dead, what was it again? Hamster? Did I say that? Yes, hamster.
You sure did.
So she found a local taxidermy artist to turn Hamilton, also known as Hammy, into a pole dancing stripper. So now Hamilton's carcass is wearing a bright pink thong stuffed with dollar bills as he, quote, hustles for money, swinging from a stripper pole. She keeps him next to her bed. Imagine dangling with this gal one night and you get a look at her petrified hamster on the nightstand. Try keeping a boner through that.
I would think it's not real.
You would think what is not real?
Like it was never alive, you're saying?
Yeah.
Just a stuffed toy?
Like it's just like a joke or something like that.
Try keeping a boner with that thing looking you in the eyes, fellas. But what can she say? She loved the little feller. This is shocking. I didn't know this. Hamsters only live 2 years?
Whoa.
But Hamilton, he made it nearly 3. So that's part of what made Hammy, very special to this lady. Here's what this Jess gal said. Hammy died just short of 3 years after I got him. He passed away in his sleep of old age. A good way to go. This is something. I got to slow down because this comment, I forgot how great this quote is. Again, what this Jess gal said about her dead hamster. Hammy died just shy of 3 years after I got him. He passed away in his sleep of old age. A good way to go. Not like flying into a blender or something like some people's hamsters.
That's happened?
I'm going to be honest.
Is she thinking of Gremlins?
The people that I've met that have owned hamsters, they all have some horrific story involving the hamster.
You mean horrific way it died?
Or what they've done to it. Like I know somebody that
Wait a minute.
Put it on a ceiling fan.
Wait a minute.
Okay, so you're saying they've done to it on purpose?
Yes.
Oh, animal cruelty.
Yeah.
Just some light casual animal cruelty.
Yeah.
For laughs. It's kind of messed up.
Well, Nick has a hamster story that.
Yeah, but that was accidental.
Yeah, but that one messed me up for a while.
See now what's the matter with you? You seem to dislike me for a few days because of my accidental hamster death story, but you're hanging out with folks who are strapping it to a ceiling fan until its brains come out its ears.
I know.
Why were you so mad at me for a few days?
I just learned about the ceiling fan hamster about a month ago.
That's terrible.
I know.
The
hamster lived, though, thankfully, in this scenario.
I witnessed a hamster death. It was accidentally run over by a cue ball on a pool table.
I shouldn't laugh.
Guy's going for a rail shot. Hamster jumps on the damn table. We didn't even know, he jumped up there. We didn't know he was coming up onto the table. And the cue ball ran him over and he died. Oh. It was like that's what would have happened to Indiana Jones if he hadn't gotten away from, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It was like the Indiana Jones giant ball scene. So she turned her hamster into a stripper. There you go. Oh,
the dollar bills really make it.
Yeah, it does.
It's the details, isn't it, Cole?
Yeah.
She's English, this lady, don't you know? So take a wild guess how she felt when she saw the finished product of her hamster turned into a stripper. Who wants to?
I read the story, but I'd like to answer the question.
Go ahead.
Gobsmacked.
She was gobsmacked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could kind of guess when her hamster's name was Hamilton.
You had to guess what?
That she was from the UK.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of a dead giveaway. Yeah. They have dumb names like that over there.
It's always tons.
Yes. You are Correctington. What else is going on? Oh, God. Oh, Jesus Christ.
What?
I just had a terrible pain over here.
Gas?
No, it's not a gas pain.
Well, I don't know.
Oh, God, I think I'm having another spontaneous, how do you say
spontaneous?
That? Pneumothorax. All right, sorry. But someone press 9-1 and stand by. That hurt. Sorry, I if you want to get a load of a truly bizarre video this morning, you ought to get a look at this here. A cute little South Korean model. Well, she's being prosecuted for what they call here obscene exposure. Obscene exposure. Here's the deal. She went walking around town wearing a cardboard box with holes in it. Now, Cubby tells me that step one is to cut a hole in the box.
Everyone knows that.
Yep.
She can't do step 2, though, from what I understand.
No, she went walking around town wearing a cardboard box with holes in it. And she would let anybody go ahead and reach into the holes and fondle her a little bit.
Whoa.
She became known in her neighborhood as the Angel Box Girl. But like I said, she's in trouble with the law for this gimmick. And she doesn't quite get it overall. I don't think she's all there, unfortunately. I believe her name is Ain, A-I-N, Ain. So she cuts holes in the box for her arms and legs, and then she cuts 2 more holes so folks could reach on in and squeeze her little boobies or whatever.
I think it's weird that she calls it an angel box because, like at bars and stuff, an angel, if you ever order an angel shot, it means that like you're in trouble and you need help.
Yep.
I never heard that in my life.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So once she started this deal up, going up and down the streets over there in South Korea, word spread what she was doing, and next thing you know, there were piles of people going nuts on the sidewalk trying to get their hands in the box, and the cops had to show up and straighten everybody out. She went through with this once or twice until some locals were grossed out and they asked the cops to step in. She was recently charged with, like I said, obscene exposure, but she's contesting the charges. And like I said, I don't think she gets it. Here are some quotes from Ain. It's freedom of expression. I don't think I should be charged for indecent exposure. How can I be accused of making an obscene performance if people weren't able to see my body parts? I don't have fake breasts. I didn't get breast surgery. My cardboard box performance is not a viral marketing stunt. I just wanted to market myself. I thought it was a fun idea. I believed it is illogical to punish women for not wearing clothes while it wasn't the case for men when they go shirtless. I saw many positive reactions, people telling me they support me and applaud my courage. She's kind of all over the place there, isn't she?
Mm-hmm. It's pretty disturbing.
I mean, I get don't get me wrong, I couldn't care less what this woman is doing, but at the same time, we can't have real-life human fondling and fingering stations walking up and down the sidewalk.
Yeah, if we were all out and one of you guys took her up on that, I'd be pretty disappointed.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you think, well, first and foremost, this has to be a trap.
Yeah.
And secondly, she's really going through something and needs some help.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Women want to walk around topless, bottomless. You can do everything that guys do. I have absolutely no problem with that. I just think it's a little dangerous to have this booby and ass grab lady on the sidewalk. It's dangerous. I mean, teenage and college-age dudes will end up dying in car crashes racing downtown to get involved in something like that. However this plays out, she's a big star now, and that's what I imagine she was going for. I'm sure parents of teenage girls love to hear these type of stories.
Yeah.
Where then you have to actually sit down with your daughter and say, honey, I know you saw that this South Korean gal is a so-called somebody now, but please don't go downtown and let strangers handle your boobs on the sidewalk. At least not while your father and I are still alive.
Yeah. Once we check out, you can do anything you want.
And finally, dudes, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say another carjacking story. And I hear you on that. It's frustrating. It's demoralizing to know that we just can't go anywhere anymore without looking over our shoulders, looking out for low-life butthole crooks. But this carjacking story does have a twist or two in it where you might actually be glad that you heard it. A Domino's pizza delivery driver was the victim of an attempted carjacking a couple days ago, middle of the night in Connecticut. It all started when the delivery driver got out of his car. 2 suspects were hanging around, waiting on him, it seemed. 2 suspects wearing masks jumped inside his car, and they tried to drive it smooth out of there. But the car got stuck on an icy road. The pizza delivery guy then threw a pizza at these pricks.
Nice.
And that was enough for him to bail, I guess.
Oh.
They ran back to their getaway car and sped off. The delivery driver chased them.
He's done. He's had enough.
But during the pursuit, the carjackers started shooting at the guy. No one got hit. The delivery driver slowed down. And the local cops tagged in on the chase. They started chasing these bastards. Eventually, 4 suspects jumped out of the vehicle and ran like little bitches. The cops unleashed the K-9 unit on them to try to track them down. They didn't find them. But this part is something different. During the search for these douchebags, the cops did find a 16-year-old who had been previously reported missing.
Whoa.
What?
Wow.
Now, police didn't say whether or not the 16-year-old could have been connected to the carjacking. If not, the story closes out by saying if this kid is not, this missing kid that they found, if he's not connected to the carjacking, then that is, quote, super random.
It is super random.
Soup rando.
Oh, no.
Wapo, you'd be uniquely qualified to throw a pizza at somebody with your disc golf experience.
Yeah.
Just pull it out of the box there and whip it.
Yeah, and then they could be like a dog and run after it, jump in the air, and catch it with their mouth.
Wouldn't it be something if it's just instinct for douchebags?
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
So you're originally from Minnesota, right?
Yep, born and raised.
Big time deal, Minnesota. That Fargo is a crazy movie, wasn't it?
That was North Dakota.
You're right. Minnesota, you got the Yoopers.
No, that would be Michigan. Upper Peninsula, UP, Yooper.
Oh, yeah. You ever meet Prince?
No.
Hey. Joe Mauer there in one of those funny ESPN ads from back in the day. He and Joe Schmit are going to be here in about a half hour.
Awesome.
All-time big league great Joe Mauer and all-time local sports guy Joe Schmit going to be here to jaw jack with us. Those were funny old ads, weren't they?
I love those.
Those were so good.
I love the Stone Cold one when he was teaching him how to hit with a chair shot.
I don't recall that one.
Like this. Then he was going to hit Stone Cold, and then he just turns around at him and just death stares him.
So Ashley told us that she has friends who torture innocent animals.
Yep.
Yeah. Sometimes it's accidental. An animal can get hurt, and you didn't mean to hurt that animal. Got a text from a listener who said, one of my dogs tried to catch a horseshoe in midair.
Oh,
no, baby. I wish there was a video, though.
Oh, that's bad. Oh, boy. Yeah. When we were kids, we had a lab that, it would chase your tennis ball, football, softball, hockey puck, anything that you could shoot across the yard, that dog would chase it. And my brother and I were pretty young, and we got one of those new Itza footballs. Itza. Some of you were too young to remember the Itza, but it was a football that was built similarly, Josh, to, like, say, a kickball.
I'll have to look that up. I don't remember that.
Oh, you don't remember the Itza? It was a very bouncy rubber football. As bouncy as the kickball they used to torture us with in gym class.
Oh, yeah, I've seen these.
We
Sure.
had some of these.
I didn't know that's what it was called.
Oh.
You could punt that damn thing to the moon because it just had so much, I don't know if the word is buoyancy, but whatever, bounciness. And we had this big, dumb, fat-headed chocolate lab, and so she just loved to chase any ball. And so my brother and I are punting it as high as we can. That was the game we were playing that day. And my brother set up to give it the kick of his life, and the dog leapt up to fetch the ball, and he kicked her in the boiler.
Oh.
He kicked her in the breadbasket so hard.
You know, based on the type of dog there, I bet the dog felt worse than your brother did.
It was a lab.
It was lab, right?
And you know how labs are.
And I'm sure, you apologized to your brother.
The lab looked at my brother and said, I hope your foot is okay. You know what I mean? Because that's how labs are. But, he's kicked her in the belly, and we felt so terrible.
Oh, that's awful.
You know, Nick Saban's like that. He'd apologize if he was in that same situation.
Saban, he has nothing to do with this, Nick Saban.
Well, I'm just saying about just kind of great individuals.
Tell me if you liked our old Chocolate Lab's name. We named her Babe.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
Yeah. She got hit by a vehicle and died.
Oh, no.
Timberwolves last night
was like M. Night Shyamalan right there.
That is how it was a snowplow. I'm not making stories up here.
Oh, my gosh.
It was terrible. That's what happened to Babe. Last night's Wolves game with Memphis, it was iffy at times. The Grizzlies played really well, but the Wolves had a big fourth quarter, and they beat Memphis by 15. We can give you all much more detailed information on all this in a half hour or so. Golden Gopher basketball fought their asses off, lost at Michigan State. The Pigs got more or less taken out behind the woodshed last night. Tampa Bay scored 7 goals. 7-3 was the final. Ohio State is in town to play the Golden Gopher Hockey Club. We'll give you all the information on the NFL playoff schedule for the weekend in a half hour. Joe Mauer and Joe Schmit. Till then, Josh's News is coming up next.
Half-assed morning show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act. They're a nuisance.
93X.
Our experienced and certified technicians at Standard Heating have been trusted to keep our fellow Minnesotans comfortable and confident for over 90 years. We're ready to do the same for you, providing comfort you deserve since 1930.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's 94 years of business celebration is going on right now. You can save up to $1,930 on a new furnace and AC combo or boiler. Don't miss this great deal. Go to standardheating.com.
Half-assed morning show. 93X.
I got an alert this morning. I talked to my dad about it. He was telling me, be careful. A little bit more, urgent. I'd say that someone's, actively threatening everyone.
I definitely saw more law enforcement than I usually see. So I guess they're amping up just in case. It's just a precautionary measure. Maybe this guy had a bad day or something. I don't know.
A former small-town mayor in southwestern Minnesota said he never intended to follow through on threats to shoot students at the University of Minnesota. He was only trying to get Secret Service agents to come to his home. The 41-year-old was charged in connection with threats he posted on social media over a 2-day period last week, which stretched into the overnight hours of January 11th. In one, he wrote in all capital letters, "Lots of people are going to die." The threats triggered a series of university alerts that warned employees and students to stay away from campus. It was later determined the man never came to the Twin Cities, and law enforcement arrested him that afternoon after a 6-hour standoff at his home. Under questioning after his arrest, the man said he started catching on to government stuff, such as mind reading and shadow government, while he was mayor of Watson a decade ago. He added that his objective with the post was to get the Secret Service to speak with him and insisted he was never going to kill U of M students. Court records show he has a criminal history in Minnesota, which also includes convictions for burglary, theft, drunk driving, and illicit drug possession. In 2016, he was sentenced to 9 months in jail after pleading guilty to burglarizing the home of a man who succeeded him as mayor. In 2021, he was convicted of burglary after driving a tractor through the entrance of a church. At the time, a police officer found him wrapped in a blanket on the altar. He was also once accused of firing a rifle through the sunroof of his truck because he said that there were corpses that were trying to get him.
We got ourselves a real keeper here, boys.
Moments after finding a cell phone in a Walmart bathroom, a Florida man used the device to call 911 and claimed there was a bomb in the store, telling police he had previously seen TikTok videos showing similar fake threats, so he decided to make one himself. Police responded last Friday afternoon to a Walmart in Port Charlotte after a man called in a bomb threat to 911. When a dispatcher dialed the number from which the threat was placed, the suspect said tick-tock, and then hung up. After the phone's owner told cops he had left it in the store, a review of surveillance footage showed another man entering the bathroom moments before the 911 call was placed. Cops quickly identified the suspect as 28-year-old Cody Clements. After being read his rights, Clements reportedly copped to seeing the cell phone in the stall and decided to make that prank 911 call. According to the report, he stated he regrets his decision and realizes he may have made a bad decision.
So more or less, this guy pulled all this nonsense because he wanted to be like people on TikTok?
Yes. I mean, it's just one more of those.
Right.
This one, obviously.
He's 28 years old.
Very impressionable at 28, apparently. My bad.
I want to be like everybody.
Said. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I made a mistake.
A 13-year-old's being questioned by police in Western France in connection with at least 380 false bomb threats. Police say the adolescent is suspected of having emailed or called in the threats to airports, courthouses, and universities across France. A prosecutor told reporters the minor used a VPN to mask his IP address. He admitted making the fake threats as a game with no political or religious motivation. An official said technical police work and international cooperation led them to the originating computer and the teen who was arrested on Monday. 2 other minors have also been identified as suspects by investigators in similar threats. Officials say there's been a huge increase in hoax threats across France since last fall. France's Justice Ministry said it opened 192 investigations into false bomb threats so far, with about 30 of them already leading to charges, and most of them against minors or young adults.
I've never made a false bomb threat.
Yeah? I haven't yet. I'm trying to find the right time, and I get a little I don't know exactly what to say.
Right.
Because you want to sound kind of cool.
Yeah, you don't want to screw it up.
And I don't have the voice for it, I think.
Maybe get a voice changer.
Oh, genius.
Those are cool.
Think from Scream.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we ought to let the hype die down a little, Josh, and then we'll be the ones who can bring it back.
Yeah, kind of like the clown phase, like in 2016, and people bringing it back now.
Yeah, right now you can dress up as clowns and bring that back.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait for the trend to dummy down, and then I'm going to be the one to bring it back.
I'm trying to do the same with parachute pants. One of these days.
Do it, dude.
A Texas man allegedly shot 2 family members because he believed they were practicing witchcraft on him. 23-year-old Willem Sandoval appeared to grin in his mugshot after he was arrested on multiple charges at an apartment complex in Houston Sunday. A few hours earlier, Sandoval apparently got up off the couch and fired a handgun into the kitchen where a relative was cooking, police said.
I bet that surprised the hell out of him.
When a second relative went to help the first with their injuries, Sandoval allegedly turned the gun on them and fired twice, striking the other family member once in the head.
My goodness.
A third relative was also home at the time and told authorities they saw Sandoval point the handgun directly at them, but he didn't appear to shoot.
A possible motive was that the alleged shooter may have suspected that family members were conducting some type of witchcraft on him. He was upset about it, and that prompted him apparently to resort to violence.
The 2 injured victims, a male and female, are expected to survive. Sandoval's due back in court later today.
We got some problems.
We do. St. Louis Park Public Schools has closed their high school today after 2 separate altercations broke out yesterday. The first occurred at the end of the school day and included 2 groups of students who engaged in an altercation before teachers and staff responded to the situation. Thankfully, the adults got involved to stop that. Until the adults got into a second altercation with some of the students.
Here we go.
Some students and staff sustained minor injuries, including scrapes and bruises, and were seen by the school nurse. 2 adults arrested after the incident. The school district said it couldn't confirm if weapons were involved, and they're working with law enforcement to determine the scope of those incidents.
So the grown folks had to get in there and start throwing hands with the kids.
Well, at first it's like, all right, everybody break it up. Wait, what'd you say to me? Or whatever happened.
And the school nurse is going, doesn't anybody just pee their pants anymore? I can give them a fresh pair of jeans. What the hell is this?
Yeah, nobody just puking from too much cotton candy like in the old days. You're right. It's real now.
It is. It got real.
A man shot himself in the leg when his gun went off during an open house at a St. Paul elementary school late yesterday afternoon. Oh, how embarrassed would you be? Dad!
God help us, Dad.
Officers were called about the accidental shooting at Como Elementary School about 5:45 p.m. St. Paul Fire Department medics took the 30-year-old to Regents for treatment. Luckily, his injury was not life-threatening, just mostly embarrassing. He was playing basketball at the school's parent night open house while carrying the handgun on his body, police said. The gun wasn't holstered, and it went off, striking him in the lower leg.
F me.
No one else was injured.
All right, let's play some hoops. Well, hang on now. Anybody have a loaded gun on them?
Maybe. A 37-year-old Christian teacher in Missouri has been arrested after she allegedly tried to kill her husband by poisoning his smoothies every day for nearly 2 months. Sarah Sheffer was taken into custody Wednesday after admitting to surreptitiously giving her husband the Lily of the Valley plant, which authorities say is categorized as having major toxicity.
It can slow the heart rate. It can cause different degrees of what we call heart block, or there can be risk to raise the potassium level in the body.
The husband had been suspicious his wife was putting poisonous and or toxic substances in his food and beverages without his knowledge for about 6 weeks.
Yeah, he had 2 months to figure it out.
He told authorities his wife on December 31st gave him a smoothie that tasted unusually bitter. When he confronted her about the taste and accused her of putting something in his smoothie, all she could come up with is, yeah, I urinated in it.
Oh, girl.
And then she changed and said, actually, I put an industrial strength adhesive in it. And then later she said, oh, I didn't put anything in the beverage. Growing increasingly wary. Boy, she's a bad liar.
Yeah, and even after all that, he continued to drink her smoothies?
Yeah.
Well, then he set up some hidden surveillance.
Oh.
And that's where he saw her poisoning the smoothie that she prepared for him. She admitted intent to cause harm to the victim and acknowledged to police she knew ingesting Lily of the Valley could result in death.
I mean, if you eat enough of it in a short period of time, you can see signs relatively quickly, but it all depends on what part of the plant and how much of it is consumed.
Sheffer is employed as a design and art teacher by Calvary Lutheran High School in Jefferson City, Missouri, which, according to its website, is dedicated to building Christian leaders through a Christ-centered experience for students and families.
There ain't no question in that, Cubby.
Yeah, she might not be the best example.
Oh, man. Like you've said many times about your wife, and you've said it to her face. If you've had enough, just leave.
Yeah, that's all. You can have whatever you want. Just divorce me.
Don't kill me.
Yeah, we don't need to go that route.
Ridiculous.
A married North Carolina police chief was fired after he repeatedly asked his captain's wife for nude photos on social media. John Clark, who served as Mars Hill's police chief since 2021, allegedly solicited a relationship with the wife of Captain Chad Wilson last year, requesting topless photos through Snapchat. Your conduct in attempting to pursue a romantic relationship with the wife of one of your officers is reprehensible, town manager Nathan Bennett wrote. To actively solicit that relationship is unforgivable and put your entire department and the town of Mars Hill at risk, Bennett added in his termination note. The woman didn't respond to Clark's request and shared the screenshots of the distasteful inquiries with her husband, who in turn shared them with Bennett. The now newly fired chief, who had served with the Mars Hill Police Department since 2016 and shares 3 daughters with his high school sweetheart, admitted to sending the messages. Following his firing, he was hired by the Madison County Sheriff's Department as a school resource officer at Madison Early College High School.
Well, good.
But he didn't show up for his work shift January 8th, and the school superintendent said Clark would not be returning to work when they found out why he was no longer chief.
Oh, so that second gig didn't work out so well.
No, it didn't last too long.
Who does this guy think he is? Who does he think he is?
I don't know. The article had a lot of pictures of him. He kind of looked like the type of dude that would assume, any girl's going to feel lucky.
Oh,
I asked for topless photos.
Yeah, sure.
Kind of had that look.
They're out there, Cubby.
They are. He's an example. Green Day have reteamed with producer Rob Cavallo for the first time since 2005 with the release of their 14th studio album today, Saviors. Cavallo previously produced Green Day's biggest-selling albums, including 1994's Dookie, Insomniac in 95, 97's Nimrod, and American Idiot in 2004. Every Friday on 93X.com, our esteemed colleague Bill puts together everything new in rock on our notable new releases post, as well as the 93X playlist on Spotify.
Let me tell you something. Bill did not buy the Dookie record.
You don't think so?
No, he didn't.
I don't know.
He didn't buy Dookie.
We'll have to ask him.
No, you don't even. I know Bill. He didn't buy Dookie. He bought like an old Brian Wilson record.
He's into some of that kind of stuff.
He bought Brian Wilson live from San Antonio. That's what he bought.
The weekend brings the NFL divisional playoff games starting tomorrow afternoon on ABC with Baltimore hosting Houston. Tomorrow night's game on Fox is between the 49ers and Packers. Then Sunday afternoon, the Detroit Lions host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on NBC. And on CBS, the divisional round wraps up later Sunday with Dana's Buffalo Bills hosting Taylor's Kansas City Chiefs.
Is this another weekend where you're just going to be laid out with barely a pulse watching these games all day long, Josh?
I already set my wife up. Same thing as last weekend. She's just going to have to roll me every once in a while so I don't get the bed sores. That's for sure. Sunday night on Showtime, the series premiere of The Woman in the Wall, about a sleepwalker who finds a dead woman in her house and a detective investigating the murder of a priest. Now streaming on Prime Video, the second season finale of Reacher, and what a good season it's been.
Oh, I'm so excited.
And Natasha Lyonne is Jimmy Fallon's guest tonight. NBA legend Hakeem Olajuwon will be 61 on Sunday.
Cubby, for my money, he's the greatest that ever played the game.
I know, you love him, and I can see why.
I would probably break down and cry if I was ever in the presence of Hakeem Olajuwon.
Well, hopefully that can happen someday.
Wouldn't that be? Make a few phone calls.
Tomorrow, Rainn Wilson of The Office turns 58. Kiss frontman Paul Stanley will be 72.
Jesus criminy.
The second man on the moon, Edwin Buzz Aldrin, rockets to 94 tomorrow. Turning 40 today, former Golden Gopher and Wild Winger Thomas Vanek. Comedian Frank Caliendo is 50, and American treasure Dolly Parton, 78. Thanks to Brian from Acoustics tuning in this morning, and to Beyond Remodeling Jesus. Good luck with the butt, buddy. And that's 93X News.
What is that supposed to?
Diarrhea.
Oh.
Care 11's Randy Shaver
on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
How about this? Has Joe Mauer made up his mind already? The only catcher to win an American League batting title, and he did it 3 times. Joe in tears, the love of the game of baseball.
Hi, I'm Joe Schmit. I had the pleasure of covering Joe Mauer when he was a star at Creighton-Durham Hall High School. Plus, I covered him his entire Major League career with the Minnesota Twins. But this is not a sports story. It's an impact story. Back in 2001, Joe would walk a young student to the lunchroom every day and invite him to sit down at his table, the coolest table on campus.
I want to take this moment to thank you all for supporting me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It truly means the world to me.
Hey, good morning. Randy Shaver, where are you?
I'm right here.
Hi, Randy Shaver.
Hello.
Where Brad Ryder at?
Is Brad there? There's Brad. I hear something.
I hear him breathing.
Can you hear me?
Hey, there he is.
We all hear him breathing.
Oh, hello, Brad.
Good morning.
This is a very special day for us on the Half-Assed Morning Show. Very special. Joining us in studio are a couple of guys who Minnesotans are very familiar with. And they've come on in today to tell us about something cool and meaningful that they've collaborated on. From KSTP Television, he's been on the air here for, by damn 40 years, nearly 40 years. Joe Schmit is here. Hello, Joe.
Hello, guys. It's great to be here. I'll be the other half-ass on the show today.
It's nice to finally meet a respected local sports broadcaster.
Well, knowledgeable.
Let's just put it this way. One of these respectable sportscasters came into the studio today. The other guy's in his pajamas at home.
Well, I'm looking at you, so I think I know what you're saying.
Right next to Joe Schmit here in studio, right next to Joe Schmit, from right here in town, of course, one of the best the big leagues have ever seen. Joe Mauer is in studio as well. Thank both of you gentlemen. Thank you for coming in and joining us. Hello, Joe Mauer.
How are we doing? Thanks for having us.
Well, absolutely. This is an absolute thrill. I think we've probably waved at you from a distance at a couple of Randy's golf tournaments and whatnot, but I've never met you in person, so this is great. And the reason you boys are in here is also really interesting and cool, and I can't wait to get to that. But first off, we had to take some time to bust chops. Randy Shaver's chops specifically. Finally, we get Joe Schmit on this radio show. Josh and I have told the story many times. 25, 6, 7 years ago, when we started this radio program, and some boss told us, well, how about we get a sports personality, a television personality, to come on and talk sports with you guys? Joe Schmit was our first choice.
He was.
And the truth of the matter is, I wanted to do it, but the management at Hubbard didn't really think, they didn't trust you guys.
What's not to trust?
Well,
It seems as though they made the right call.
Well, it was interesting because the first time I listened to you guys, you were talking about male anatomy, and I thought, I guess I understand why they don't trust you guys.
What's really funny about it is, I don't know who called who to find out if you were available, Joe Schmit, and our bosses got back to us and said, well, Joe Schmit said no. And we asked, did he give any reason? And they said, no.
Well, now you know the truth.
Now we know. So, and Randy Shaver has been with us for years and years and years since then. But, yeah, you were our first choice, Joe Schmit, and we like to tell Randy that as often as possible.
You just made my day. That's all I can say.
Yeah. And now, Randy Shaver, these are old bros to you, right? I mean, you've known Joe Schmit and Joe Mauer for many years.
I've known, Joe Schmit, I think, longer, obviously.
Well, of course,
I mean, worked in this market together for a long time. And I think the first time I interviewed Joe Mauer was he was a junior in high school, probably, or a senior in high school.
Do you have any memories of that, Joe Mauer?
I do. He
I
had
do.
He had these little glasses. He looked. I think I made the comment to him, "You look like a stockbroker or something." Because
a lot of people told me I was Harry Potter before Harry Potter. That picture. So absolutely. But yeah, we go back a long ways. And Randy, to come to your defense, I think the guys here had two great options in Joe Schmit and Randy Shaver to come on the radio show. So
we feel very lucky. That's
yes,
for sure.
absolutely.
We absolutely do. We absolutely do. We don't tell each other nice things like that very often, Joe Mauer. But
I just thought I'd slide that in.
I will say, and I said this to Joe when I interviewed him back in the spring for all of this, because his numbers were never going to change over the course of time, and so I got that interview with him out of the way a long time ago about the Hall of Fame possibilities. But he's also the best high school quarterback I've ever seen in Minnesota in my 40 years of covering high school football, and I did an all Prep Sports Extra team of mine this last fall, and I named one quarterback, and it was Joe. He just was a tremendous, tremendous football player. Very respected, not only by his teammates, but by the opposing coaches and players, and very much deserved that honor. We all know his accolades as a baseball player, but he was a three-sport athlete that I don't know if Minnesota has seen one since, maybe Suggs from SMB, but very few like Joe.
Randy does mention that a lot, Joe Mauer.
Yeah.
He does. I think I watched you play once in high school. I think it was at the old Metrodome in the high school playoffs. I think you beat Wayzata, my alma mater.
Yeah.
If that rings a bell to you. And now Brad Ryder, did you and Joe, you and Joe familiar with each other?
Oh, I know both of these guys, too. I've known Joe Schmit since probably 1992 when I started in PR at the University of Minnesota. Joe and I have always had a really good relationship. And then...
Wait, real quick, Joe, do you feel the same way, or is that more one-sided?
Right, he has some pictures of me, so yes, I feel.
I have several.
You know what? And he passed those pictures on to me. So.
Right? Yeah, exactly. No.
And then, Brad, you and Joe Mauer worked for the Twins around the same time period, right?
Crossed over a couple of years. I was with the Twins from 2000 until 2006. And so when Joe got drafted, I remember Joe being at Cretin on the day of the press conference with Terry Ryan and you, and met you for the first time there. And then obviously you spent just a couple of years in the minors, not too many, and you came up, I think, for 2 years while I was there, and then I left. But I was there the first 2 years you were there. And then you started winning batting championships and going to the All-Star game after I left.
No correlation at all.
Right. But we reconnected a little bit a few years ago when I was with the Wolves, and I had you out to a couple Wolves games, and so we've talked a little bit since then.
Well, there you go. I knew I knew Randy Shaver's connection, but I wanted to make sure that Brad. I thought there was something there too. Okay. Very nice of you guys to come in, of course, like I mentioned. And the reason you guys swung by is to talk about this book that you, Joe Schmit, put together with a collaboration with Joe Mauer. And thank you for the copy. The boys came in and handed us a copy. I only looked a few pages into it. It's a children's book called The Right Thing to Do, the Joe Mauer story. I only got a few pages into it, and I already love it. Tell us the background behind this, both of you gentlemen.
Well, I guess I'll start on this one, Joe. I wrote a book 9 years ago called Silent Impact, and I included the story about Joe walking a young student, a blind student who normally sat alone at lunch, and invited him to sit down at his table at Cretin-Derham Hall. And I tell that story when I speak all over the country with my speaking business. Well, long story short, that's always been one of these great stories that people like. My publisher of Wise Inc., Amy Quayle, called me up and said, Joe, you have to write another book. And I said, I don't want to write another book. She said, write a children's book. Long story short, we decided that the Joe Mauer story needed to be told to a younger generation. I called Joe, and we had breakfast with Joe and Maddie, and we laid out a really good plan that 100% of the proceeds would go to charity, and that we'd also encourage people to donate money that we could get books in schools throughout Minnesota. And we have 500 elementary schools lined up to get these books in their library for free. So it's become a really win-win-win project for all of us. And on top of it, the book is beautiful, and it's a really great story about values and compassion and caring and stuff that I think kids need nowadays.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. I think I heard you say, Joe Schmit, you said this is not a sports story, it's an impact story.
Yes, it is, because it's just Joe taking the time to walk Mike Hawley down to the lunchroom every day, invite him to sit down at his table. They then found out that Mike was this huge sports nut, and I talked to Mike a couple of weeks ago, and he's whipping off Joe's stats and talking about Joe's chances in the Hall of Fame. He's a sports guru. But the name of the book, I do want to mention the name of the book. So I interviewed Joe after I found out this story, because I just thought, you know what, this is perfect what I talk about, how we can make an impact with the little things we do. And I said to Joe, why did you do it? You know, you're a high school kid, the coolest kid on campus. You could have walked around, and had people carrying your books or whatever you wanted. And Joe said, because it was the right thing to do. So the name of the book is The Right Thing to Do.
That was an emotional piece that you did. We all watched the video yesterday, and that's, good luck not tearing up when you watch something like that.
Yeah, we decided to do the reunion, and a charity called Thumbs Up for Mental Health started because of this story. A woman was motivated, Katie Shatuski was motivated to start a charity because she thought she could do something. If Joe could be this kind, she could do something too. And anyway, Katie called me and said, why don't you get Joe and Mike together? I said, I've been thinking about it for 2 or 3 years, but I don't want to bother Joe, and it's going to be really hard to make this happen. Well, when she begged me, I did it, and we did this beautiful little story, and that story is now being shown to kids in high schools all over the state and, maybe someday all over the country.
That's pretty cool, pretty special. Cool. Yep. You can pre-order copies of the book at joemauerbook.com. As you mentioned, Joe Schmit already. People can pay at joemauerbook.com. You can also pay for a book that will be donated to a kid or to local schools. So did you have any hesitation at all, Joe Mauer, when this was brought up to you?
Yes, I did actually. Just for the reason I know Joe went around and spoke of the story in the past years, but I immediately thought, Mike's a buddy of mine, and it was something that I felt that I didn't feel like it was a story to tell until Joe kind of convinced me and realized that the good that could come out of it. But first, I wanted to make sure Mike was okay with it.
Sure.
And then obviously with Joe okay with it, and then obviously 100% of the proceeds going to Thumbs Up, as Joe just mentioned, and the Highland Friendship Club. But it's a very, true to my heart too. It was a pretty easy sell after that. So I hope it gets out there and gets in the hands of families and sparks conversation and spreads some good around the cities and hopefully a little further.
Sure, absolutely.
The illustrations are great.
Yeah, Kevin Cannon is the illustrator, and I got just a quick story about Kevin. Kevin he has a lineup of 1.5 years in front of him to illustrate children's books. He's from Minnesota, one of the best illustrators in the country, and when he heard about this project, he put us in the front.
Oh, wow.
And so that was cool. So I will tell you, when you get your hands on this book, it's high quality. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. I am so happy with it, and I'm also just happy because the story will get out.
Yeah. Absolutely. Speaking of what term should I use? The cartoonist, the illustrator? You just used it. I'm sorry.
Illustrator, I think.
I love this from what I read about the illustrator, Mr. Cannon. he had, Joe Mauer might be embarrassed by this, but he had trouble caricaturing Joe Mauer because he's so classically handsome.
That was a good line.
That's in print, right?
Yeah. He did print that.
I can use that later.
Here's the direct quote. Joe Mauer is so classically handsome, he's tough to caricature.
Oh, boy.
You know what? I talked to Kevin, and he didn't have the same problem with Shaver.
Easiest drawing he's ever made.
I mean, just paging through the book is great. The cartoons, the illustrations are great. The story is a lot of fun. And
Can I ask, Joe, how do you feel about Joe Mauer? How do you feel about the story with your dad, too? Because this month, it would be a year now that your dad has passed. And I wonder how special it is that story is also included in this book.
Yeah, definitely. It was yesterday, or 2 days ago, I'm sorry, was a year. And it's something that I'm proud of. Obviously, a lot of the lessons that are trying to be relayed in this book are directly from him, and my mom. And, to pass that along to kids out there and my own kids, it's something that I'm proud of. And, to partner with Joe, the opportunity to do this and get the story out there, it means a lot. So I'm excited. This is different territory for me. This is old news for Joe. This is your third book?
Third book.
Third book. So,
and I'm going to read another one real soon.
Yeah.
Children's?
Yeah. So I'm glad to partner with Joe here, and my first go at this, and this is the first time I've had it in hand. I saw the renderings. And
beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, this is awesome.
It really is. It did a really nice job, and
Randy
can't
couldn't
thank,
do this.
The folks that put everything into it. So
you guys can always change your mind, Josh.
Joe Mauer, did we have a fan in our parking lot waiting for you this morning?
We did, yeah. Up and early.
That's
I
guess
so.
Yeah,
that was pretty neat. But it was had a couple pictures there, and but yeah, that was pretty cool to see.
That's awesome. Joe Mauer, we can get texts here from listeners, which has been a great addition to the show. And when Randy was talking about your skills at quarterback, they wanted to know, with the way the Viking season went this year, did Kevin O'Connell put you on the depth chart? Did you get a phone call?
I had obviously being from here and buddies, high school buddies, were shooting some texts of that nature, but no, didn't get the call from Kevin O'Connell. But
but it was close.
Yeah. But no, it was.
You might be younger than Joe Flacco.
Yeah, maybe.
You guys might not remember. I know Randy probably does, but Joe had committed in football to go play for Bobby Bowden at Florida State, correct?
Right. Yep. Yeah. And actually, last night we had a couple of the boys from the championship team in '99 get together for happy hour with Coach Calick, and it was a lot of fun to see those guys. And just last night, reminiscing about all the old football stories. But so it was fun to do that, and can't believe how long ago it was. I won't say the number, but it was some time ago. But we all came to the conclusion last night at the around the table that we could still go out there and do it. So
we were just talking about how funny it was when the Twins had the Joe Mauer sideburn nights, those types of games. What did you think of that when they came to you with those ideas?
That kind of took a whole life of itself. But we had some fun with it. The marketing department did a great job. I feel like. Throughout my career, but especially the early days that I was there. But fans, they liked it, so we just kind of rolled with it.
I was actually wondering, Brad, if you were around during that time, you're such a clever guy. It kind of seemed like something you'd come up with. Did you have any of those ideas?
Take credit for it, Brad.
Sure, I'll take credit for that, even though I was long gone.
Oh, were you long gone at that point?
I think so, yeah. Yep.
I mean, so not only is it really special to have Joe Schmit and Joe Mauer in studio this morning because of the book, The Right Thing to Do, the Joe Mauer story. This is a really cool thing to be part of. But also, here we are with Joe Mauer in studio as this Hall of Fame vote is approaching. What goes through your mind, Joe, with the last few days?
Well, it's a hurry up and wait situation. There's nothing that I can do to do anything, but while you're waiting, you realize that there's a lot of people that helped me along the way, and the journey of when I first met these two, high school, and all the places that I've been able to go and experience and the relationships that you form over the years, you start to think of that and the impact that people had on you to put you in a position to do something good. And it's there's kind of a whirlwind of emotions. But it's Tuesday's coming up, and it's been talked about here locally for a little while. So I'm kind of ready for it to come and just to see what happens.
It's coming up on Tuesday.
Are you encouraged? I don't know if you follow what's been out there on social media, but a lot of I shouldn't say a lot. I would say about a third of the ballots have been made public, and so far you're trending at about 83%. 75. You have to be named on 75% of the baseball writers' ballots in order to be elected. Are you encouraged by that number? It doesn't mean it's going to stay there, because I've heard that sometimes, obviously, things can change. But is that encouraging to you?
Yeah, I think, we talked about this before the ballots started becoming public, and I really didn't know what to expect, and I still don't. It's it'll be interesting to see when they're all tallied up and see where it lands. But, I guess it's been encouraging to see the number, where it's at right now. But, there's still a lot more out there, and anything can happen. So, we'll see. I've been made aware by a lot of friends and family around town where the number sits, but I try not to look at it too much until something happens.
Joe Mauer, Joe Schmit, I hope you don't mind some text messages from listeners with comments and questions. Our listeners have been looking forward to this as much as we have. Big Rig Fenders Jesus. I loved the combo of Mauer and Morneau. Grew up watching those guys as a kid, and it was a fun time to be a baseball fan. I think we'd all agree with that.
Yep.
Many people just texting in Joe Mauer with brief encounters they've had with you, saying what a nice guy you are and what a pleasant experience it was to meet you. Here's one. My mother-in-law has had a crush on Joe Schmit for decades.
All right. Yeah. All right. Now we're talking.
Go on.
Maybe you made a mistake not coming on this show.
Now
you know what?
Talking.
If I'm lucky, she'll be waiting for me in the parking lot. We're done
here. There you go.
Social anxiety, Jesus. You have to ask Joe Mauer about the alleged rap song that he and Justin Morneau recorded. Is there any truth to this?
Oh, boy.
I've never heard this before.
That was a long, long time ago. Justin Morneau was not a part of it. I think he was a part of laughing at us.
Oh.
With that, but that was a minor league. We had a center fielder by the name of James Tomlin, and we roomed together, and he was very into that, and thought it would be funny if I jumped on there with him. But yeah, that'll never. That was so bad.
It'll never see the light of day.
Yeah, I hope not. Yeah.
We could have a 93 exclusive.
I think they're waiting till you get into the hall.
Oh, let's hope not.
Well,
never tempted to use as your walkout music. Never.
No, definitely not. Next question, please.
Well, the next one that I had texted in is actually kind of a tough one. And how does it go? Here it is. Would the two Joes tell us their take on the top 5 best Twins players that they ever saw?
Oh.
Wow.
Both of you, Joe Schmit covering it for television and Joe Mauer being on the ball field. Could you even take a stab at it? I know that's a tough one for anybody.
Well, I think you probably. I'm going to start, with Joe here. He's definitely in the top 5.
Yeah.
Randy and I were both lucky enough to cover Kirby Puckett in his career, and there was nobody like Puck.
Yeah.
I never covered Harmon, Killebrew, or Tony, but they're in the Hall of Fame. They definitely would be on that Mount Rushmore.
Mm-hmm.
You got Herbeck, the other local guy.
Sure. Rod
those are
Rod
Carew too.
Yeah,
that's where Rod in there too. I don't know, Joe, if did I miss anybody?
That was well answered right there, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's tough. I mean, I've had, obviously I was a big Puckett fan growing up, big Kent Herbeck fan, for me too. So, I mean, there's a lot of great players that come through the organization, and it's hard to select a few, but yeah, that's a pretty good list right there.
If I could say one thing, you mentioned Morneau. When you look at Morneau, if Justin had not been injured, if he had not had that concussion, Justin would be sitting in there too.
Imagine.
Talking about going into the Hall of Fame. Because you look at his numbers for that short period of time. He was a machine, and he just got better and better and better. And then after the concussion, he changed his style and won a batting title. I mean, it's pretty amazing what Justin did.
Yeah, I mean, he was, like I said, he was one of the best players in the league, for a while. And it was fun to hear other teams talk about our lineup, and trying to have to navigate our lineup with the two of us in there. And then you throw Torrey Hunter and Kadire and Kubel and those guys in there. But yeah, Justin was one of the premier players in the league for sure, and I think he was very underrated on the defensive side. I feel like he should have a few Gold Gloves in his cabinet there too. But everybody. I mean, MVP. He won the MVP in 06, and was in the conversation for all those years. So yeah, tremendous player, and I was fortunate enough to play alongside him and learn from him for 10 years
and live with him for
rare.
A while.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. But, the playing. But no, we had a great time, and it was fun to come up with a guy like that with the same aspirations. Trying to get better each day and trying to do anything that you could do to help the team win. And tremendous player and a tremendous guy.
So if Joe Mauer gets into the Hall next Tuesday, that will make 4 guys from St. Paul who all grew up within miles of each other, different time periods, but all grew up within the same. A few miles. Morris, Winfield, Molitor, and Joe. It's amazing. It's astounding that something like that could happen in a northern city where you can only play baseball, literally outside 5 months, maybe 6 months if you're lucky. Joe, if you get in and you're the 4th guy in that group, what will that feel like to be a part of even that collective group?
Yeah, I mean, it would be really special. I know all those guys very well personally, and they've helped me out in my career too. One, just the fact that a kid from St. Paul can go out and be a big leaguer and compete at the highest level, and it'd be tremendous. So I've the utmost respect for those guys and appreciate everything that they've helped me out with, and to join that group with them or and the rest of the crew in Cooperstown, that would be amazing.
Man, absolutely. Randy brings that up quite a bit as well. The guys from St. Paul. It is a remarkable story.
It is. It's amazing.
And 2 from the same high school. I think with Molitor going to Cretin-Derham Hall, and I think I think there's only one other high school in the country that has 2 Hall of Famers, and it's out in California.
Oh yeah,
right.
Do you know who the players are? Yes, Randy Shaver.
I was going to say, by the way, Jack Morris also makes the comment that Cretin is located in Highland Park. So just FYI.
Yes, you've been retired for how long now, Joe Mauer?
5 years.
5 years.
Yep.
You look like you still play, no question about it. I don't know if you heard this yet. I was reading about an ex-teammate of yours. Briefly, he was a teammate of yours who's thinking about making a comeback at 46 years old, Fernando Rodney.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he'll turn 47 in March. He wants to pitch until he's 50. Wow. He's been pitching professionally in Mexico over the last several years. He's trying to get back into the bigs.
Well, I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah.
He was fun, a lot of fun to have around. Obviously we faced him quite a bit when he was there with Detroit for years, and premier closer at the time. And then you face guys and you don't really get to know a whole lot about them. Fernando, as an opposing player, was really quiet. Kind of had this, kind of a grumpy look on his face at all times, and some guys are a little afraid of him. But he came over. He was just awesome. I mean, awesome teammate. Helped out with the younger guys, and when you said that name, I thought you were going to go the Lou Ford route.
I bet you got some fun stories
hanging on for a while.
I think Lou is still playing. He's probably approaching 52, but Fernando Rodney, I wouldn't put it past him to see him out there in somebody's organization.
Well, now we get a chance. Now we get a chance to ask a guy who was there. Are all the Lou Ford stories true?
I would say most of them are.
Yeah,
I've affirmed a few of them before.
Yeah,
you have, Brad. You've talked about your run-ins with Lou.
Yeah, Lou was great. There's a lot of stories, a lot of good stories.
Yeah, a lot of fun stuff we've heard about Lou over the years.
Before these two have to scram, again, we're talking with Joe Schmit from KSTP Television and Joe Mauer, and we'll give all the information out about the book before we go. Before we let these guys go, though, obviously, both of you know your stuff when it comes to sports. We got the big NFL playoff games coming up this weekend. Would you guys like to make any comments on what you expect this weekend?
No. I might be the wrong guy to ask, yeah.
No, so
I might be the wrong guy to ask. This year I haven't really been in tune with what's going on.
Kids keeping you busy?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, it's been
How old are they
good.
now?
So my girls are 10, and Chip just turned 5 in November. So right now we're signing up for baseball, softball seasons, and it's been a lot of fun.
You going to coach?
I am, yeah. I was able to coach them both last year.
Can you imagine people just moving to your neighborhood to have Joe Mauer coach their kids?
You know, it's been a lot of fun. And, for the girls, my best friend Tony Leisman, who played baseball at University of Minnesota, knows a thing or two about the game. We've been coaching our girls for the last couple of years, and it's just been a riot.
That's fun.
With the girls. So.
Are either of them catchers?
You know, I have a funny story with that. I probably am going to embarrass my daughter with this, but so last year, or 2 years ago, was their first year. They got to put the gear on and experience getting behind the plate. And you know, Tony and I are running around the field trying to help girls out with if you get hit the ball's hit to you, where are you going to go with it?
Yep.
And my daughter, ushers me back or calls for me to go back behind the plate, and she tells me, she goes, "Dad, I'm absolutely terrified back here." And I said, "Okay." She goes, "Why would anybody want to do this?" And I said, "Okay, honey, well, this is our first go at it. Why don't we just stand to the side a little bit and kind of get a feel for it?" And I proceeded to tell Tony, my buddy, the story, and he laughed, and he's like, we just shook our heads. But it's been a riot. It's been so much fun, and to see the improvement, just with one season at that age is just remarkable, and we have a lot of fun with the kids.
Are any of the three left-handed, and do any of the three have your kind of natural swing?
Yeah, I'm a little hesitant to say this, but my son, Chip, throws right, hits left.
Okay.
And he loves any sport, any ball, shape or size, so it's kind of fun to watch him navigate that. And right now he's kind of getting into baseball again, so throwing a lot of wiffle balls around the house, hoping that it doesn't knock over things. So.
Yeah, you're just going to love the next 12, 13, 14 years because my daughter just got done playing high school sports last year, and I miss it already. So
yeah, Brad, you're going to get arrested or something at a ballpark, I think.
I'm actually going to coach. I'm actually going to help coach at Egan High School this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Nice.
I am. Yeah.
So you're giving up your broadcasting career.
No, I don't think we're going to do that.
Your play-by-play career.
Way
back and gone.
Is the restraining order now off? Is that the deal?
Yeah, they lifted it just especially for this year.
Okay, good.
Oh, you know what? Something just came to mind. A few minutes ago we were talking about the Sideburns promotion at the ball games back when Joe Mauer was playing. God, I think the one of the most fun things I ever saw at a Twins game was before. Was this when your number was retired, Joe Mauer? When they had the dude come out who was the only high school pitcher to ever strike you out?
Yeah, this was last summer. With the Twins Hall of Fame.
God, it seems like longer ago than that. When you went into the Twins Hall of Fame, I was at the ball game. Tell us about that, because I thought that was so funny and so much fun to see you out there with that dude.
Yeah, so Paul Feiner, he's from Elk River, and people don't realize that day that I struck out, the shortstop for the Elk River was Paul Martin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, long-time NHL, and we've become friends over the years.
We know Paul a little bit here, too.
Yeah, he's a great guy, but yeah, Paul would always tell me, he goes, for a guy who struck you out, it couldn't happen to a better guy. Paul Feiner. He's very humble, just a really nice guy, and he almost shies away from the attention. So I was able to meet him out there, and he brought the balls out. I thought that was a nice moment.
Oh, that was great. But really, he was the only dude to ever strike you out in high school baseball.
In high school baseball, yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That was a really cool moment.
Nick, I could see you making a shirt if that was you. I'm the only guy.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, that'd be really exciting. All right, we know we got to let these fellas go. So one more time, Joe Schmit has written a book, forward by Joe Mauer. It's called The Right Thing to Do, the Joe Mauer story. I want to get all this information out there so folks know. It's a children's book inspired by Joe Mauer. It's like Joe Schmit said, it's not really a sports story as much as it is an impact story You can pre-order copies of the book at joemauerbook.com. You can make donations there as well, and you can pay for a book that will be donated to a kid or to local schools. And Joe Schmit already said 500 copies have been donated.
We have 500 we have 500 copies donated, and we have 500 elementary principals who are going to be getting that book in February.
That's nice.
Yeah.
100%.
We want more.
Oh, of course. 100% of the profits from this book will benefit the Minnesota nonprofit Thumbs Up and Highland Friendship Club. It's such a great idea.
Yeah.
Great idea. And it's very well done. And we can't say enough how much we appreciate you both stopping by today.
Yeah, so nice of you to come in studio. Joe Schmit, you're the one that got away.
Yeah.
Jesus. Oh, God.
And Randy just says, "Jeez."
Randy's kept us employed for 25 years, so we can bust his balls every once in a while.
Yeah, but I'll be honest with you. I would not have lasted 25 years here because the FCC would have kicked me off because I would have gone right where you guys go all the time. Shaver has much more discipline than I have.
You know, Joe Schmit, Randy, he fought that for many years. He did. He fought that urge to go where we go. Now that he's gotten a little older, he goes there.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
And we get to the point where you don't care anymore.
Right.
Exactly.
He's a grandpa now. He couldn't be happier. What does he care?
And Joe Mauer, it's been an absolute thrill. Thank you for all the great baseball memories. We've been fans since you came up from high school, and we just wish you the best.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate
Tuesday,
it.
Joe.
Yeah,
thank you.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
All the luck
We'll
in the
see.
world on Tuesday. Absolutely.
I appreciate it, guys.
Thanks
you.
again.
Yeah, thank you.
Joe Schmit and Joe Mauer, what a great time we had. We really appreciate it.
You know,
All
Brad, you could use some of those Joe Mauer sideburns, turn it sideways, use as a mustache to sidestep those restraining orders over there at
There you
Egan
go.
High School.
Well, yeah, I was thinking about that too. I might actually have some of those left over I could use.
That promotion was so funny.
It was.
The Twins are good at that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, the fake sideburns. No dad fight today.
Okay.
We wanted to focus all our attention
that's
on
great.
our guests. And
great.
we gave folks a heads up earlier that we were not going to be having any kind of a dad fight. We wanted to focus all of our energy, and I'm very thankful that we were able to do such a thing with Joe and Joe today.
That's their first stop of the day, too.
Oh, I know.
I'm sure they're out doing the whole tour today.
Yeah,
they're on their way right now to get on a phone call. They got to call someone else.
We had to get them out of here. So let's get back to that NFL schedule. Since the Joes didn't really want to get into it, well, we can get into it. Saturday, well, that's tomorrow. Houston and Baltimore, Green Bay, San Francisco.
Yeah.
I think that Green Bay-San Francisco game is going to be a lot closer than people think.
Yep.
Yeah, Randy's been going that direction all week long.
I honestly think the Packers can upset them. I really do.
Well, of course
and if they do, and the Lions take care of business, the NFC title games in Detroit between the Packers and the Lions, that would be amazing.
I tell you, those Lions are going to have to do a lot more than take care of business to get rid of my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sunday at 2 o'clock. And then after that, the Chiefs and the Bills. What is this now? The Bills are again asking for fans to volunteer at the stadium to help shovel the snow before this ball game.
Well, not volunteer. They get $20 an hour.
Well, sure, okay.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, what happened the last game, though, they didn't shovel anybody out before they opened the gates. It was up to the fans to find their seats and shovel their own way into their seats.
Brad, which is why I brought this up. I cannot believe the NFL let the Buffalo Bills. They didn't hire a crew or something to clear the stands before they let people in. It was just amazing.
So it's been snowing for a smooth month in Buffalo, and they need help again before this ball game starts on Sunday. They're asking folks to show up. Yeah, like Dana said, they'll give you a few dollars. Former rapper turned over-the-hill sports nerd Eminem. He wants to suit up for the Lions this weekend against my Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yo, Dan, I'm going to report third quarter. I'm reporting offensive line. Eligible receiver, I'll be the quarterback, the entire line, offensive line, and the receiver. And I will throw it to myself, and I will score a touchdown in the third quarter. Just give me a uniform, or at least just like a helmet. I'm going to be there that night. I will suit up, and I will score us the winning touchdown in the third quarter.
That's annoying.
Yeah, that is
yeah. What quarter is he going to be there?
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one, Randy Shaver. That was annoying and stupid.
Yeah.
If you still give a rat's ass about what former Viking running back Dalvin Cook is up to, apparently he just signed on to play for the Baltimore Ravens a couple days ago, and he could play this weekend against Houston.
No way.
The Ravens released Melvin Gordon. I didn't even know he was still in the league.
Yeah, he was. He just scored a touchdown, I think, in Week 18.
Melvin, didn't he go to Wisconsin?
Yep.
Melvin Gordon. What a dork. I'm kidding. He sounds like a nice guy. Oh, back to the Baltimore Ravens. And I was going to ask Joe Mauer about this, about his diet when he was an athlete, but he and Joe Schmit had to go. There was a story written up about the Baltimore Ravens and their appetite. But overall, it sounds like, have you guys heard stories like this before? Athletes love Uncrustables.
They do. Yes. Yeah, they do.
And I recently was introduced to Uncrustables, I don't know, a year ago. One of you probably told me about it, and I really like to have that little snacky snack in the middle of the day, a little peanut butter jelly.
Oh, yeah.
You've eaten them frozen, right? I thought you'd mentioned maybe you did.
Yeah, I eat them cold.
They're really good if you throw them in the toaster for a little bit.
That too.
Oh, no, I don't want the hot peanut butter jelly. I eat them cold. I don't know if you'd call it frozen. At any rate, the Baltimore Ravens eat 30 to 60 Uncrustables a day. They went through 7,500 of them this season.
Wow.
According to some gal who's like their nutritionist or whatever the term might be.
I have to be honest, I don't think I've ever had one.
I don't think I have either.
You'd like
I'm
them.
not
What in the
familiar with
world?
them.
Oh,
So are they in the bread aisle? Where do you find them?
Frozen section, refrigerated
section.
section. I can't remember. One of the two.
Yeah, refrigerated.
So they never had that at your school when you were younger?
We always had those at school.
Yeah.
Everyone would buy them.
Never.
They weren't an invention when we were in school.
Yeah, we didn't have
probably
them.
not.
We just had peanut butter jelly sandwich. Peanut butter
Right.
jelly time.
Peanut butter
Or
jelly
just
time.
butter.
Or just butter on bread.
That's
Grilled
right.
cheese.
You ever had a Wish sandwich?
Is that where you wish you had more?
A Wish sandwich is, remember that? What was the song called again? Rubber Biscuit?
Yeah, Rubber
right?
Biscuit.
The Blues Brothers. Well, you got to play that again. Let's play Rubber Biscuit by the Blues Brothers before this sports segment is over. You cool with that, Josh?
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now.
Rubber Biscuit. Bow, bow, bow. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Some of you want me to shut it. So, aside from Uncrustables, the Baltimore Ravens this season, they ate, this is just when they're horsing around at team meetings and at practices and whatnot. They went through 6,200 sticks of beef jerky. I don't even know what some of this stuff is. 460 energy bites, 3,600 snack bars, 2,800 energy chews. What the hell's an energy chew? 1,800 bags of sunflower seeds. What a mess.
Holy cow.
Wow.
Bow, bow, bow. Did you hear what the Cowboys cheerleaders said about the Packers?
Yeah.
They said they're a bunch of dicks. So the Cowboys cheerleaders say during their game against the Packers there at the Texas Stadium, whatever they call that pile that they play football in, that the Packers were being just disrespectful pricks on the sidelines. They were racing up to the cheerleaders' faces and screaming in their faces, and just the cheerleaders were appalled by their behavior. All right, so the Packers were dicks. The Packers were dicks. The Pigs got crushed in Tampa Bay last night.
Boy.
And they're
close for a while.
Yeah, it was.
7-3. Yeah, it was a close game, I guess, in the first period. I don't know.
Third period got away.
Struggling, this club.
Yeah.
You know that.
What, 8 out of their last 10 they've lost?
I think at some point they're going to have to make a decision about whether they really feel like they're a contender or if they go the other direction.
They're at Florida tonight. They got to play the Panther. Spurgeon's out for the rest of the season. It was made official.
Oh. Yeah, he's having surgery. Was it back?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I can't remember.
I think so.
I think that's it.
Mm-hmm. Back surgery. Okay. He has to have left hip surgery in a couple weeks, and then he'll have back surgery a month later. Christ almighty.
That sounds like a fun off season.
Good Lord. That's a shame. He's just beat to hell. Ohio State's in town to play the Golden Gopher Hockey Club this weekend. Timberwolves, they hit the halfway mark of the season with a 30-11 record. That's not bad,
amazing.
huh?
That's amazing.
Pretty good.
Last night's game was a little iffy. Memphis was great, especially when you consider 4 or 5 of their regular players are sitting on the bench.
Jaren Jackson was awesome last night.
But the Wolves stayed in the game, and they had a big fourth quarter. They won by 15. You're right, Jaren Jackson Jr. was a pimp last night.
Well, between him and your guy Nas in the first quarter or the first half was amazing.
Last night, was one of those nights where I watched the Wolves and I was so proud that I discovered Naz Reid before any other basketball fan in town had any idea who he was, and I'm serious about every word that I'm saying right now. I discovered him, and I'm proud of it.
He kept him in the game in the first half.
Yes, he did. He was all over the place, dumping threes, fast breaks. How about Anthony Edwards with that alley-oop dunk to himself?
Fun game here in the Twin Cities. Look at the moves by Edwards. Swashbuckling and slamming. Anthony Edwards skies.
Sometimes you just got to make it up as you go. Edwards right here. You know what? The shot's not there. Let me just throw it off the rim and finish it myself. Little pump fake here on Tillman. I don't like this. I like this one better.
Kevin Harlan and Reggie Miller liked it.
That's up on
Kevin Harlan
93X.com.
calling the Wolves, man.
You can see it on 93X.com?
Yes, and it's super cool.
That plays like something you try in the driveway in the 6-foot hoop when you're, 10, 11 years old, and you don't pull it off.
Oh, yeah,
he
definitely.
did it in the NBA.
If you were watching last night's game, when Edwards pulled that off, he was struggling. I mean, he was nervous to even take a 12-foot jump shot. So he said, you know what? Jump shot's not working right now. I'll just do this. But then he had a very strong second half. They have to play Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
Good one tomorrow night. 1 and 2 in the West.
You going to go to that one, Brad?
No.
Tonight?
I was at a game a few weeks ago, but I'm not going tomorrow.
Oh, I just thought maybe.
Tonight, Minnehaha Academy is retiring Chet Holmgren's number tonight.
Oh, nice, because he's in town, obviously.
Yep, he'll be in town tonight, and his teammates will all be there, too, at Minnehaha.
That doesn't seem right.
Oh, hey, by the way, I looked at the Joe Mauer signature inside of the book here, and it's the same signature.
All right, you're referring to earlier today, Randy and Brad. Ashley said she was gifted a Joe Mauer rookie card that was autographed.
Ooh.
And we had joked how funny it would be if it wasn't really Joe Mauer's autograph. So you've compared them, and it's the same one?
Yes. So that
That's
feels
awesome.
good.
Good for you.
That is good.
Thank you.
Yes.
Golden Gopher basketball lost to Michigan State. They played hard. They lost. I'm glad that it was a legitimate autograph that you have.
Not as
Ashley.
funny, but yes, we are going.
Those autographs will mean much more after next Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
Because they'll put HOF.
All right, we got to go. You guys have a wonderful weekend, Brad and Randy.
All right.
Yeah.
Half-assed morning show.
They're loud, they lose control, they do their little circus act, they're a nuisance.
93X.
Our experienced and certified technicians at Standard Heating have been trusted to keep our fellow Minnesotans comfortable and confident for over 90 years. We're ready to do the same for you, providing comfort you deserve since 1930.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's 94 years of business celebration is going on right now. You can save up to $1,930 on a new furnace and AC combo or boiler. Don't miss this great deal. Go to standardheating.com.
Get an inside look at Hollywood with Michael Rosenbaum.
Let's get inside of Jennifer Love Hewitt.
It's dangerous, I think, to say to women, you can't look like you're not 22 to me anymore because I don't know how to take that. Okay, well, that's your problem because I'm 44. This is what I look like. By the way, she was a looker. Like, congratulations to that 23 or 25.
But I'm a different person now.
You know?
Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. Wherever you listen. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
They got their heads up their ass.
On 93X.
Got your head up your ass. Here's the deal. It's 8:34 here on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. It's Friday. And I don't know. What do you think, Cubby? I guess while we just sit here and milk the clock waiting for 9 a.m., we could dump some Monster Jam tickets on our ungrateful listening audience.
You're right. They don't deserve it. It's such a good time. Love the Monster. Has everyone here been to a Monster Jam?
Yeah, it is so much fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're just going to milk the clock till 9. We might as well do something. So right now on the Luther Bloomington Kia text line, text IRON, I-R-O-N, to 651-989-9393 for a shot to win tickets to Monster Jam. February 17th and 18th it comes to town, don't you know? Over there at U.S. Bank Stadium. Some folks call it the new Metro. The prize is furnished by Feld Entertainment. Good luck. The word is IRON, 651-989-9393. IRON, I said. Ungrateful bastards.
You don't mean that.
I mean this right here. I got a text from Excessive Diarrhea Jesus. He wanted a shout out, Ski. He's working in Eveleth this morning. It's 31 below zero.
Oh.
That is so gross.
He's working outside in Eveleth this morning. 31 below zero.
Goodness.
He hates his life. He says he hates it.
Not only are you in Eveleth, but now you're in 30 below, too. Oof.
Man. Sucks to be in Eveleth is what Wapple's saying. Ah, man. All right, so on a scale of 1 to 10, every last one of you is here in the radio studio. On a scale of 1 to 10, how difficult is it to get yourself going in the morning when your godforsaken alarm clock cuts loose on you? Scale of 1 to 10, how difficult is it for you?
Most days I'd say a 1.
Yeah, I'd say like around a 3.
But then I'll crash shortly afterwards. Like within, not literally, but within an hour or two, I'll start to realize, oh boy, that was early this morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually on the drive-in where I'm like, I finally realize how exhausted I am.
Yeah, it takes a little bit for me.
Yeah, I'd say 4 or 5, kind of in that same range, maybe a little bit higher than you guys.
I'm going to say 4 or 5.
When my alarm, the first bell barely goes off and I'm up.
Yeah, me too. I don't let it ring for too long. I get up. There's a miserable feeling there for just a brief amount of time. And then I kind of come to. So that's why I think I'd only rate it at a 4 or a 5.
Are any of us snoozers?
No.
Or do you just do one alarm?
Can't.
We kind of have to, right? If you live with somebody else, you can't really set the 4 alarms in a row.
What do you know about getting out of bed on time?
It was rough.
Let's track. We've been tracking this year because we said if Ashley's not here ready to work at 5 a.m., she's considered late. Wapple, you're the official scorekeeper. Where are we at? How many late days? And keep in mind, she was gone sick twice.
We have 5 late days and 2 sick days.
All right, I want to talk about how late I am on those days because it's within 5 minutes or 3 minutes, I would say.
We made it very clear a long time ago. Your ass has to be in your seat ready to work at 5 a.m.
Sometimes a girl's got to pee and sometimes a girl's got to change a tampon.
Sometimes a guy has to pee and sometimes a guy has to change a tampon.
I wish you guys could see how much this has caused me so much anxiety every morning.
All you got to do is get up 5 minutes earlier.
You just got to get up a little early and come to work on time.
Within 5 minutes, it seems like that's pretty simple math.
Maybe we're a little anxious when you're not here. We have anxiety issues. Okay, so, it's always a bitch to get out of bed in the morning. But it doesn't sound like any of us are struggling too badly if you're going to rate it a 1, a 2, a 4, or a 5. Who's into the caffeine gimmick?
I am.
I
just in the morning. Like I don't do it throughout the day, but just and actually mostly just here.
Yeah, I didn't drink caffeine until maybe like my 3rd year here. And then it started getting exhausting, so.
I just use it out of necessity. When there's days where I'm really feeling it, I'm like, all right, I got to get some caffeine in my system. Otherwise, I try to stay away from it.
Fair enough. I don't touch the stuff. It's because of a heart problem. If I did not have a heart condition, I would be sucking down Mountain Dew like my name was. I would be sucking down a lot of Mountain Dew.
Rod Carew.
I do.
There you go. Rod Carew would work. Dr. Drew. These are good answers.
I do love Mountain Dew.
Mm-hmm.
I never got into coffee, but I sure loved Mountain Dew and caffeinated soda when I was a kid. All right, here's where we're going now. Expect to see some more people dropping dead around town. People are snorting caffeine now.
That just doesn't seem like a good idea.
So, cocaine?
Did that, what was that bar that would shoot that stuff up your nose? Wasn't that caffeine?
No, that was
nicotine.
snuff. I mean, I don't know what was in snuff. I think you're referencing snuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I've been there. I know what you're talking about.
Wasn't that a bar in Northeast Minneapolis?
Yeah, it was the German bar.
Right,
Yeah,
one of the
I've done
German
that. That place is fun.
Polish bars. I can't remember which ones. Yes, I know what you're talking about, Wapple. I'm guessing our listeners could text in the answer.
I think it is snuff, but every time I had some of that, it gave me a boost of energy.
I never felt a thing from snuff, except my nose kind of hurt for a minute or two. What is in snuff? Someone look that up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do some of you not even know what we're talking about?
Oh, I'm familiar with snuff. Yeah, I've been to that bar.
When we were in high school, of course, we all chewed tobacco or smoked cigarettes. every once in a while, someone would bring a little can of snuff to a party. And if I remember right, it was lightish brown in color.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what it was supposed to do for you. This is a long time ago, but I certainly tried it 4 or 5 times. I don't remember what was in it. I don't remember, like I just said, what the hell it was supposed to do.
So it is tobacco.
It is.
It's ground up tobacco leaves.
It's only about 30% tobacco and 70% water and flavorings.
I'm sorry, give me that percentage again.
They flavor it?
30% tobacco and 70% water and flavorings.
Okay.
Yeah, they like put mint in it.
Isn't it?
Oh, okay.
Isn't it? I never had any that was supposed to be minty. To me, it just kind of smelled like dirt. Isn't it very high school that I never asked what was in what I was about to snort?
Yep.
But anyway, snuff, probably very different than snorting straight caffeine. This is the latest thing. Sorry. No. I took too big a hit.
I never did the snuff, but I did was it the boot? Where they bring out basically that ski with all the shots on it or whatever?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. That's called, it's not called the boot. I thought it was called a, you're talking about
At gas stops. I thought they called it the boot.
Wait.
Somebody can tell me.
They have an actual boot
Right.
that you
At
drink
gas
beer
stops.
out of.
Drink beer out of.
You're
Yeah,
talking
that wasn't
about,
that.
what do they call that?
A shot ski?
Shot ski.
There we go.
Maybe that's
it. Right.
There we
it's
go.
It's an actual, I see this at a lot of bars.
Yeah.
It's an actual snow ski, and they affix 5-6 holes in it for shot glasses, right?
Yep.
Okay. Shot ski, boot, we got it all straightened out now. Das Boot.
I saw somebody drop one of those at gas stops once.
Which one?
The huge boot, the huge glass boot.
Yeah.
Because you got to put like a $300 deposit down on that thing, and she dropped it, shattered everywhere. Oh, it was painful to watch. I know.
I knew a guy who used to, I don't remember which bar it was in that neighborhood. I knew a guy who used to teach polka dancing at one of those establishments.
That's so cool.
He would hang around, and of course they'd play some polka music, and they'd walk up and say, "Do you know how to polka?" And if you said no, he'd drag you out there and show you how.
That's cool.
All right. People are snorting caffeine. The product is called Want-A-Bump.
I do.
Yeah, I want a bump, but not that kind of bump. Want-A-Bump. It launched last year. That's how you got to say it these days. It launched. It looks like cocaine, but it is legal. You can buy it on Amazon. It's billed as instant energy on demand. And it's being talked about here the last couple of days on social media. And experts are telling people not to buy this product. They say just because it's legal doesn't mean it's safe. That would scare me to death. What would happen to me with a heart problem if I snorted straight caffeine?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I'm right on this, but whether what you're snorting is good for you or not, I'm pretty sure you always run the risk of like your nose getting all messed up.
Well, your nose could get messed up according to the information in front of me, Smashly.
It like collapses or something.
Oh, when you drink caffeine or get it from things like chocolate, it absorbs into your body gradually. But it happens a lot faster if you snort it. So it says here you can overdose.
Oh, great.
And if you do this regularly, like you were just saying, it can mess up your nasal passages just like cocaine does. Wasn't it, and I'm sure the list is terribly long of rock stars who have mangled themselves with cocaine, but if I remember specifically, Josh, it was Duff McKagan from the Guns N' Roses routine that his nose just gave way.
Yeah.
I think before a show, he just began pouring blood out of his nose. His nose had just become one massive hole.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because of the amount of deterioration.
Suppose that's not that uncommon from folks who've done it long enough.
Right. Man.
I was looking at some of the reviews of this stuff, the Want-A-Bump, and it was pretty funny. People are saying it's basically a gag gift. A few people said it does nothing. It's super expensive for how much you get. And And sometimes with reviews, you can post pictures, right? Like, let's say you get a new bedspread, and then you'll take a picture of it and show what it looks like in the room. Well, people were posting pictures of it in little baggies with $100 bills, lines on mirrors and stuff like that. It's pretty funny.
Oh, if you go to a party and someone has some wanna bump, they're going to cut it up on a mirror like you're, Charlie Sheen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I wonder what kind of taste you get in, like, the back of your throat from snorting it. Wonder if it's, like, toxic or, gross.
I don't know what straight caffeine tastes like. That's for damn sure. This is just...
It's like, have you ever had the caffeinated water? It's gross.
No.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
I love caffeinated water.
No,
Just
never.
the plain water?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, maybe I would like this then.
I don't like that bubbly water. It just makes me want to vomit. This Want a Bump is one of a string of products that is out there now. There's also a caffeinated navel. It has nothing to do with your belly button. There's a caffeinated nasal spray with the name of Turbo Snort.
I want that nickname, Turbo Snort.
Yeah.
So that's what they got cooking out there for you folks who need a quick pick-me-up, I guess.
Turbo Snort.
But you said there were some messages saying it's fake, or...
That it just doesn't do anything.
It just doesn't do...
Yeah,
so
they're saying, hey, consider this a gag gift. It doesn't do what you're...
It's not as ominous
These are reviewers. I can't say whether or not it works.
Right.
If there's anybody that's interested, but
right.
It said it's not what they had hoped.
Yeah, when I looked it up, it says that it's only like 40 milligrams of caffeine, and the caffeine drinks that I chug in the morning are like 230. So...
Did I ever tell you guys the story of the man? Let me start you off with the story. A man. You follow that so far?
Got it.
Did I ever tell you about the man that I watched pour coffee into his eyes?
Yeah.
You did tell us that, yes.
Did it work? I can't remember.
I don't remember if it woke him up. I'm sure he felt it. It was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen in my life.
Was it at least room temperature coffee, or is this straight out of the pot?
And he had a cup of coffee.
Okay.
He poured himself a cup of coffee, and he was complaining about how tired he was. I'm so tired. Oh, God, I'm so tired. And he's drinking his coffee. And then we look over, and the guy is pouring coffee into his eyes. And I said to myself, thank you, God, for allowing me to be here to see this.
What did I deserve to see such a thing?
What did I do to deserve to see something so incredible? Coffee. You do it, Josh. I'm out of gas.
I don't know what you were going to say.
In his eyes!
Oh, yeah.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
And how many drinks would you say you consume each week?
Socially, about 4 to 6. Alone in the dark while crying to Adele, 100.
On 93X.
There you go. Absolutely wonderful. Wrapping things up here shortly. And we'll be out of here for the weekend, but we appreciate you tuning in. Come back and see us next week because you're a terrific crowd. We were talking about how people these days, they're not just drinking coffee anymore. They're snorting straight caffeine. Don't even talk to me until I've snorted my first line of caffeine.
Do love those mugs with the line on it.
Yeah.
You can't talk to me until it's below this line.
So stupid.
I need my coffee.
That is one of those things, right? Where people, they talk about coffees. There's some people that love talking coffee.
Oh, they do, by God.
And I have those friends where we'll be on vacation, or something. I'll go, gotta get coffee. Where's the coffee? Is there a coffee shop nearby? We gotta get coffee. Where's the coffee?
And you went on a coffee date, and you don't even like coffee.
I don't even like coffee.
Caffeine's an addiction.
People aren't just drinking coffee anymore. They're snorting lines of caffeine. Got a text from Backsplash Jesus. Years ago, he said he was at a party. And some friends of his left the party and then came back all super awake and ready to drink some more. I was wondering where they went, so I asked them. And they said they went and gave themselves coffee enemas.
Plenty of people text in about the coffee enemas, saying how... I remember when that seemed to be... I don't know if it was popular, but people were talking about it. Would anyone here try that?
In order to wake yourself up?
Yeah, supposedly you ingest it fast.
No, absolutely not. If I want to wake myself up, I don't know, stick my head in the freezer, slap myself in the face a few times. What are you talking about, coffee enema?
I guess maybe the few times that I've almost died on the road because of how exhausted I am, I probably could have used a coffee enema.
Yeah, but would you do a coffee enema?
Oh yeah, if
you would do it.
In those situations, yeah, I would have.
You pull over to give yourself a coffee enema.
Yeah, I mean, there's been times where all the windows rolled down, radio on full blast, already had my caffeine, slapped myself in the face enough where it's still not doing the trick.
You want a butt chug at that point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Get the beer.
Scary.
Get the beer bong out of the trunk.
Knock yourself out, Smashly. If you need a spotter, make a few phone calls. Probably a little dangerous to do that on your own. I remember being so friggin' tired and hungover driving home from Mankato once. Boy, I had every window rolled down and I was singing my ass off. People who passed me on the road must have thought I was completely insane.
Oh, yeah.
Singing at the top of my lungs.
You try so hard.
Oh, you know what song I was singing? Rubber Biscuit. Blues Brothers. Anal Squeezing Jesus texted in to say that. Oh. What happened?
Oh, I just anal squeezing Jesus. That kind of caught me off guard.
It made you react in such a way? He or she, or it's a he. He said people snort instant coffee in jail.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
I did that pixie dust routine as a kid. Snort some of that at the lunchroom.
Oh,
I bet that
of
was
course.
kind of stingy, huh?
Yeah, no, it didn't feel good at all.
I did that with Doritos once, and that was painful.
I always heard that soldiers would put hot sauce underneath their eyelids to keep them awake.
I was just going to say, I got a text that says I had a buddy in the Army who would put chew in his eyes to stay awake during Ranger training.
I've heard of that, too.
My God. That would just sting so badly.
Yeah.
And how's that supposed to improve your vision? Your eyes would be watering to a point where you can't see a damn thing.
You're supposed to put of the hot sauce, just a little dab, and then the what would you call it? The fumes kind of come up.
I can believe that. I guess believe isn't the word. Maybe it is the word. I can believe that would work. I don't believe that rubbing chew in your eyes is going to improve anything.
You got a chew shard covering up your eye a little bit?
For God's sake. And wait a minute, we can't go past this. Ashley, did you just say a minute ago that you snorted Dorito dust?
Yep.
Why did you do that?
On a dare, maybe?
No, it was just, I don't know.
Boredom?
Yeah, just drunk with friends.
How long ago was this?
Oh, it was high school.
Yeah, in high school, we would snort the Sour Patch Kid dust at the end.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Ashley, earlier on we had Joe Mauer and Joe Schmit in studio talking about this new book called The Right Thing to Do. Have you thought about writing your version of it, the dumbest thing to do?
Yeah, just the wrong thing to do. You probably have a lot you could throw in there. Up north, Metal Mullet, Jesus said his brother goes to a coffee can, takes a pinch, puts it in his lip, and chews it like tobacco.
A pinch of coffee between your cheek and gum.
Yeah.
I'll be dipped. Well, there's all kinds of tricks I guess people have to stay awake. Nipple piercing.
I'd imagine that'd give you a bit of a jolt. Especially if you do it to yourself.
Oh, yeah. With just an ice cube and a rusty nail.
Oh, man, a rusty nail. Ow-wee.
All right.
Hey, Ashley, where are you going to be this weekend?
I'm going to be at the Minneapolis Boat Show at the Convention Center from 1 to 3 p.m. And I will be emceeing the Bago tournament. And
you didn't say the day.
Huh?
You didn't say
Saturday,
the day.
Sorry.
Tomorrow, 1 to 3 boat show. You're emceeing the what?
The Bago tournament is what they call it.
Well, that sounds exciting, but I'd want to win a prize.
Well, you can. If you win, you get a 2024 Sea-Doo.
It's pretty sweet.
That is awesome.
From St. Bonnie Motorsports.
You're talking about cornhole, how do you say it?
Cornhole?
Cornhole bags. They call it Bago, though.
Bago.
The Bago tournament.
I just wanted to make sure, because it kind of sounded like you said a bagel tournament.
Oh, I'd be good at that tournament.
You just cream cheese everywhere.
Sponsored by DePaula's Bagels.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like, we hope you get a big crowd out there tomorrow.
I'm really excited. My mom and dad are coming, so as long as I have them, I'm good, right?
Yeah, you'll be good. You'll be good. That'll be fun. I love the boat show. Well, all those shows are so much fun. You'll have a blast. Get Well Hillbilly from the CVMA, recovering from from a motorcycle crash. The original Ass Man said there's a benefit tomorrow at the Coon Rapids VFW.
What do you mean the original Ass Man?
I don't know. That's who he is, I guess.
We got to look into this.
Yeah, do some research. Tomorrow and Sunday, it's Rogers Hockey Fights Cancer Night. A member of the Brotherhood wants everyone to come out and support a great charity, which has helped his child and family when his son was diagnosed with cancer. There's a silent auction and Chuck a Puck. That's from Park It in Your Mom Jesus, who sent in that nice text.
Lord above.
That's one of my favorite things, when it's a wonderful text followed by something so filthy that I'm almost nervous to say. Shout out to Pimp Slap Jesus, leaving to deliver an art sculpture of his in Naples, Florida. He said he's been working on it for 2 years and is very proud. Send us a picture. I'd love to see it. Buck Nuts Jesus texted in a shout-out to his dad. I should say father-in-law, Bobcat. They're celebrating his retirement this weekend after 33 years.
Dude, I'd like to go to a retirement party for a guy named Bobcat.
Me too.
I bet there's going to be dancing girls.
Heck yeah. Happy 45th Sunday to I Want to Spank Ashley Like a Naughty Schoolgirl Jesus.
Oh, no!
Happy 17th birthday to Leech Super Jesus from Dad, Shotgun Messiah Jesus. Happy 40th to Brown Neck Flooring Jesus from the lovely wife. Happy birthday to Dr. Pepper Jesus, and Bass Slayer Jesus texts in a happy birthday to his bass slaying son Evan, turning 17. Have a great weekend.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning's 94 years of business celebration is going on right now. You can save up to $1,930 on a new furnace and AC combo or boiler. Don't miss this great deal. Go to standardheating.com.